Itchy, itchy. Oh. I keep forgetting that function doesn't work. There we go. And we're back up. Now, why is the bot not syncing? The bot's not synced? Why is the bot not synced? Hi, Carl. How's the cringe? Nigga, you were here. You know how the cringe was. Now the bot's synced. You were here. Pain. Exorbitant pain. And technically, I wasn't here. That was my stand-in. Damn you, nigga. Technically, it's Damon. You. Nigga. When I finish the video package for it, the joke will be much more funny. But mentally, I'm beside myself. The dollar bomb missiles just keep hitting the fucking GG complex and making everybody fucking look bad. Non-stop. Couldn't happen to our worst group of people. But the takes, the opinions, the sweeping. My head can't handle it, man. My head can't handle it, bro. Every single time something else happens, they all say the exact same fucking thing, which is, oh man, I won't leave him as a friend. If he doesn't keep crossing this specific line, then I don't have to worry. If he just doesn't violate more people, if he doesn't attack this person, if he doesn't sacrifice this person, then it's not a big problem. I can't handle looking at this. Nvidia on course to lose $350 billion in market value based on pre-trading rates. Interesting. This is a hate crime if I've ever seen one. I will now see legal mindset for this massive L take.
People, you know what? I'll say it. People who like pizza on pineapple should really be double checked by ICE for deep.
Okay. That's not useful. I see lovely things on the timeline. I see good things, I click on them, I hit like, simple as. Oh, I want more, there's mercy. Did I have a stroke? No. That, when I started the segment with, hello, I'm the Mon, I come damn you nigga. That's the joke name. It's like Don Lemon Lemon. It's okay if you don't get it. Or if you don't like it. Anyways. I'm currently scrolling down the timeline. As I now try to finish these runs that I've done. This gooning shit is not real. They're holding a gooneral. They're literally holding a goon memorial for a crash out. They're doing it. They're doing it live on air. You could always show them recovered ABTV. We're saving that for versus chat. I will not flashbang them with that until Thursday. So we can have a conversation over what I covered. Also, that was supposed to be a surprise. Just pretend you didn't hear or see what she said. Don't even worry about it. Just know that she found a thing and she wants to torture us all with said thing. But to this shit. A ghoul!
When I say his name, you say Nautica. Say his name! Nautica! Say his name! Nautica! Say his name! Nautica!
I can't believe. I can't believe. I can't. That's all I gotta say. I can't. I can't believe this shit's fucking real. I can't believe people went out in public to a fucking Popeyes. I know it's a Popeyes because it's the goddamn orange stripe on the building. On the ones with the modern design. I can't believe that he pulled up and did what he did. I can't believe that he killed himself over it. I can't believe the motherfucker's actually having a memorial for him! Okay. Let me finish my fucking run and then see if I can learn more of fucking endless space. Oh my god. People are losing their minds and it's only fucking January, dude. Granted, it's the back end of January, but people are still losing their fucking minds over basic shit that shouldn't be a big deal. I can't wait, man. The world's burning to the ground and you feel fine. You feel fine. Well, me! What about me in my trying times? Kappa. I can't send it. So this can only be queens. That's queen. That hand. Okay. There's the funniest trend in IWC. IWC. What is IWC? I don't know that acronym off the top of my head. Okay. Is it the Hulk Hogan clip that was put out by CM Punk, or is it something else? I've seen that clip already. No, it's lighthearted. Okay, what is it? Send it to me. Actor Selena Gomez is crying about mass deportations. Don't care.
Can I borrow some money? Can I get some weed? Can I drive your car?
Okay, that's
Can
funny.
you pay my rent? Can you buy me a drink? Can I wear your gold? Can you take me to the mall and get me a pair of those? That's when I smack the shit out you. Can I borrow some money? Can I get some weed? Can I drive your car? Can you pay my rent? Can you buy me a drink? Can I wear your gold? Can you take me to the mall and get me a pair of those? That's when I smack the shit out you. Can I borrow some money? Can I
Next one.
the mall and get me. Can I borrow some money? Can I get some weed? Can I drive your car? Can you pay my rent? Can you buy me a drink? Can I wear your gold? Can you take me to the mall and get me a pair of those? That's when I
That's fun. Music edits are always fun. Instead of an escape room, someone should have a heist room where you and the boys do a bank robbery and then get chased by pretend cops. You can experience the thrill of a heist without the feel of incarceration. That'd be funny. Daredevil Born Again may not address Matt's relationship with She-Hulk, says showrunner Dario Scarapadine. Those other events happen, some that we are not leaning into. Nature is fucking healing, let's go. Oh, yes. Daredevil Born Again is looking like it's gonna be great shit on the fucking timeline. Yes, sir. Yes, lordy, lordy, lordy. Give me more of that shit. Oh. Oh. Another House of Decline tweet. Mutuals, porn. Extra content. The story is real, but these images are fake and from a 2005 show. Ruins an entire franchise. Leaves. People are already pulling out the crying child shit. People retweeting devs, trying to make shit happen again. Kyle Spitz pleads guilty. Kyle Spitz pleads guilty to several counts involving possession and production of CP and animal abuse content. Spitz went viral in January for a video of his victim shooting him in the air and subsequently being arrested for being a member of the 764 child exploitation and extortion network, facing 30 years of life at sentencing. And from Poe, accordingly, the Black Israelite shooter, the shooter who could not manage to make sure that her posthumous manifesto was not locked behind Google Drive, as well as him, are literally all part of the same network of content producers. I find that to be interesting and weird. But let's take a scroll down the timeline. This time on YouTube. Already came across Gooner shit. Still more Gooner shit. More Destiny allegations. People recapping the Destiny elevations. Somebody making something about Cinnabar? Still? What is this?
Under that definition.
Smart people define child grooming as the act.
3 days after his stream, Cinny would get rid of her. Things weren't looking good for Cinny. That was up until...
Wait.
Back like
Ow. Not trying to get eerie, trying to get context in this video before I put it on stream.
Mater and producer.
By you and your freaks.
Talented artist, out Cinnybear03 or Scootaloo Loves Kids. An extremely talented artist, writer,
If I kill this girl,
producer, child groupie to a 14-year-old, all while being 20. When this was all found out, she initially put out an apology video where she displays an Oscar-worthy performance, really selling.
Alright, this one no. Just somebody recapping shit. It's not new shit. More of those videos that I end up needing to use for my edit. I have discovered so many fail daughters. It is not funny. Okay. Let's go into Smash TT's The Fall of Razor Fist.
Now we get this video leaking.
Whoa.
We get this video.
Smash JT is watching Kino Casino. This is not a meme corn, NVIDIA. Yeah, I just talked about this. I find it hilarious that it's down that much. God damn. It's so sad looking at NVIDIA. It's even sadder knowing that there's an NVIDIA card in my machine. If they keep going lower and lower and lower, it might actually be justifiable to be able to get some kind of stock investment, because if they're able to turn it around, you could probably make a big investment buck on it. Not a financial expert, by the way. But seeing that they were getting this happening to them because of a fucking AI push by China is crazy. Direct-to-key content, but this shit.
Video leaking.
What?
Eve leaks this video around this time, and this is Eve fighting with Razor Fist.
no.
In the house, this is their domestic incident. And we have here abuse.
Hey, Smash JT, what does this have to do with news? And games? Ain't got nothing to do with news and games. Interesting.
Silent Ones doesn't know. A lot of people don't know about this lore, but it's all true.
This is all new to me.
It's all true, and it gets crazier
Does
and crazier.
anyone know about
isn't
this?
even
I don't know
nothing.
any about
The
this.
next revelations will blow your mind.
Goonergate is claiming quite a few victims these days, and sometimes it's people that you least expect. People that don't really have anything to do with where it all started, but because they had to white knight and simp hard for Melanie Mack, now they're putting their own career in jeopardy on this platform for things that are completely unrelated to the point of Goonergate in the first place. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT, and I'm going to be covering Razor Fist today, a topic that I never really expected to really talk much about. As far as my personal connections to Razor Fist, I don't think I've ever even talked to him. I know of him because of his appearances on side-scrollers.
It'd probably be very important that you had not gone forward with this video that way by starting with content from Kino Casino about his ex-relationship. It probably would have been smart for you to not do that, but you instead decided to go that way anyways. So, let's see what happens. He actually could just strike your shit down entirely.
And he's someone who's friends with people I'm friends with, so we followed each other and didn't really think much of anything for a while. Until the moment he decided it would be a good idea to jump in from the top rope and start quote tweeting.
You're more full of shit than only reports while at Coachella. No shit, she doesn't care if women are hot. Her favorite game is Tomb Raider, unless there's a hidden Lara Croft twerking scene aware of. That's not a got you. It's evidence you exaggerated her content. This is him getting onto you because you're being fucking annoying and not doing your job. That doesn't mean that he's just covering for her.
tweeting to join.
And also, that makes the beginning context even worse. You get told by him, stop being a fucking salacious goddamn news peddler and focus on the games. So you decide to go look into Kino Casino about drama coverage about him and his wife. Well, technically, him and his ex-girlfriend.
Goonergate and coming at me for daring to stand up for gamers and the games that people want to play and have the freedoms to enjoy. It was a bad idea because after that happened, people started diving into the history of Razor Fist, wondering, it's curious that somebody is seemingly taking the approach that they're holier than thou, when in reality, they have a lot of skeletons hidden in their closet.
JT has 100% lost the plot here.
Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and yeah, I don't think I'm writing an article on this one because I got a lot of other...
Now, wait a minute now, Mr. JT. Wait a minute, Mr. I read a script and then write an article and then use the article as my script for the video. Why wouldn't you? If it's not good enough for your website, why is it good enough for your YouTube channel?
Other stuff to do, but I definitely wanted to at least cover this and bring this to you guys because it's a video format that needs to be seen, not something that needs to be read. And what got uncovered by Kino Casino, and I covered this in my live stream previously, was what you could say by all accounts would be the smoking gun in a situation.
It's evidence you've exaggerated her complaint. What he's showing, she defended Stellar Blade, which had the same degenerate as this Korean game. It had the exact same Razor Fist. It's you who's building a straw man here.
You've exaggerated her complaint. What are you fucking talking about? Did you watch her video?
She talked about how they were perverts and losers and
heading
she
to
wanted
hell.
it out of game.
Because before this point, it was a lot of he said, she said, and where this road goes gets very dark.
She says, yeah, go to the next slide. Despite me
Wait until
openly
you get to
talking
this
about my
believe
right-wing
she had
past,
some
an
and
anonymous
a whole
account
other
is replying
video
to my
that
friends
way
on
worse.
IG calling me alt-right.
It gets
This
worse?
label would have been more fitting when I was 19 or 20, but I've since broken up with the head whose politics I adapted and became my own person. Next slide. I dated a pretty well-known right-leaning asshole, she means Razor Fist, from 15 to 20. I will repeat, she dated Razor Fist from ages 15 to 20. I then, too, also became a right-leaning asshole. But that asshole ruined my heart, talking about masturbating to porn while she's in the other room, and hurt me. She left at 20 and went back to being herself. She wasn't right-wing before him, and she's not right-wing after him. Next slide.
Yeah. Wow. And that's just a couple of years ago, too.
He said he, by the way, claims that he was going to sue her for defamation. Said lawsuit never occurred.
Okay.
Never occurred.
Okay.
Next slide.
This is all from her mouth, by the way, allegedly from her.
This is all from her. So here she goes.
Allegedly, this.
Hi. I don't really like to indulge in internet drama, especially by shitty and abusive ex. But yes, I was a teen girl when we started talking, which is how I got into right-wing politics so young. I was also introduced to things like the movie Lolita.
Okay, can you?
Whoa, buddy!
Hey, Lolita.
Whoa, buddy! It's 15:30. Whoa,
Okay.
buddy! Whoa, buddy! Razor buddy!
I gotta clip that one.
So that was some of the he said, she said stuff that, sure, you can raise an eyebrow and kind of say, that's a little bit suspicious, that's odd, that's weird. If we are to believe these people, then wow, okay, that's wild. These are allegations, they're very wild allegations, but holy crap, if they're true, that is some serious stuff. And that's...
So, here's the problem, JT. This is reporting rumors as fact. You're now on the level of Grums. Why are you reporting news as fact if the news is unconfirmed? Fucking gossip shit, bro. It's fucking gossip shit. The fact that you're putting this on your YouTube channel for clicks, but you're not willing to put it onto your fucking account, should have you 100% fucking shamed.
That's the way I was looking at it until I kept watching. And then they showed a video that had been leaked from apparently his ex-girlfriend that was being held captive in a way at his house, allegedly. And what transpires in this video, it's not for the faint of heart.
Now we get this video leaking.
Whoa.
We get this video leaking.
What?
Eve leaked this video around this time. And this is Eve fighting with Razor Fist.
No.
In the house, this is their domestic incident. And we have here abusive. Silent Ones doesn't know. A lot of people don't know about this lore, but it's all true.
This is all new to me.
It's all true, and it gets crazier and crazier.
Anyone know about
isn't
this?
even
I don't know
nothing.
any about
The
this.
next revelations will blow your mind if you don't know. So it's abusive acts telling me to quit my job just because I went out with coworkers. Gets mad when I tell him I won't quit and tells me to get out because he doesn't get what he wants.
He wants her to quit?
He doesn't want her having a job because he doesn't want her having her own money, her own independence, her own social group that might tell her, hey, isn't it weird that you're dating this 32-year-old fucking weirdo, shut-in, incel loser online? Isn't it a bit strange that he tells you he doesn't want you to work a job or have friends or your own money? This is him wanting to assert control over a young and vulnerable woman to make her completely dependent and submissive to him. And you can see the abuse that he's putting her through now. Mind you, this is kindly, Christian, righteous, preacher Razor Fist. See how he runs his household.
Wait. I'll say one thing. Someone's going, this chick is insane. Yes.
Yeah, obviously.
She is insane. This is definitely a crazy bitch.
Again, as we said with Destiny, that doesn't make what these older guys are doing right. It's why they're being chosen.
He chose to date her.
Nobody will side with them because they're fucking crazy and you can get away with all sorts of bad shit.
Okay, then you need to go.
Well, how did you come to that conclusion? That doesn't even make any sense.
Because I am telling you, I don't want you to work that job.
Well, too fucking bad. I have the job and I'm not gonna quit.
Then fuck you, now.
No.
Listen to this shit. This is psychotic stuff. This is abusive. This is textbook abuse
She
and
gives
control.
him money to help pay bills?
I know.
Do you believe that?
I'm sure.
No.
You realize they can just remove your name from the fucking lease. You don't pay rent.
I don't care.
So he's threatening her with homelessness to control her, and then he wonders why she might want to have a job to have her own money. You know I could just throw you out at any time onto the street, right?
Psychotic.
Yeah, that's why I want this job.
They're calling it Ralpher Fist.
To go to sleep. I am tired. And that's how it's gonna go down. Stare me down.
He doesn't want her to have a job to make money to be able to support herself and not be out on the streets so that he can trap her in his house. Genuinely, I didn't get to this part. This is like all new to me right now.
Down all you want. It's not going to work.
What? What is going to work?
Staring me down and being verbally abusive.
What is
That's
it gonna
not
work?
gonna work. It's not gonna
Imagine
out
if
tomorrow.
Whoa!
Oh.
That no is fucked. Hang on.
It's not gonna. If you want me out tomorrow, I'm out.
No!
I thought
You
that
don't
was
say how it
Andy that said no. That was Razor Fist that said no. Whoa, buddy.
So I rewind the video and I say, whoa, hold on a second. Did he just, like, shout at her no like that, scream at her, and make her feel and belittle her, make her feel like she's a nobody in this planet? This is the guy that's on the side of holier than thou, the guy that praises God above all and tells other people how to live their life more holier and be.
And now those that probably were confused why I inserted those two clips that were given to me by Kasog, that shows that his words were being used alongside the stories and he was being put in the story unfairly, now know why I put that there.
Better people and not goon at girls and video games? Bro, it sure as hell feels like you're trying to cover up for some serious shortcomings in your own personal life.
Someone's going, this chick is insane.
Yeah, Batman.
Yes.
Yeah,
dark.
obviously.
Is insane. This is definitely a crazy bitch.
Yeah,
again, as we said with Destiny, that doesn't make what these older guys are doing right. It's why they're being chosen.
He chose to date her.
Nobody will side with them because they're fucking crazy and you can get away with all sorts of bad shit.
Damn.
Yes, it is.
Okay, then you need to go.
Well, how did you come to that conclusion? That doesn't even make any sense.
Because I am telling you, I don't want you to work that job.
Well, too fucking bad. I have the job and I'm not gonna quit.
Then fuck you. Get out.
Ed's
Where's this shit? This is psychotic stuff. This is abusive. This is
Wait.
textbook abuse
She
and
gives
control.
him money to help pay bills?
I know.
Do you believe that?
I'm sure.
No.
Smackhead, that's a rumor, but I can't confirm that.
You don't pay rent.
I don't
You can't
care.
confirm
So
it,
he's
but you're
threatening
still
her
airing
with-
it on your fucking channel, dude. What are you serious?
He's threatening her with homelessness to control her, and then he wonders why she might want to have a job to have her own money. You know I could just throw you out at any time onto the street, right? Yeah, that's why I want this job.
They're calling it Ralph or Fist.
To go to sleep. I am tired. And that's how it's gonna go down. Stare me down all you want. It's not going to work.
What? What is gonna work?
Staring me down and being verbally abusive.
What
That
is it gonna
not
work?
gonna work. It's not gonna
Imagine if you
No!
Whoa!
Oh,
That no was fucked. Hang on.
It's not gonna if you want me out tomorrow,
No!
I'm out.
no! And he goes, you don't say how it ever goes. Which it's like, whoa, man. Like, sounds like you're really secure about yourself and
That's
about this
funny.
relationship
That's
there.
funny.
Yikes.
Fucking goes down. Shut the fuck up.
No. I will not. Stop being verbally abusive. It's not going to work.
So,
Wow.
And like I said, when I went into this, I didn't expect to be making a video covering this. I thought it was just going to be like any other live stream like I do pretty much every night, where I live stream talking about stuff in the game industry and stuff going on. I was like, oh, this should be interesting. We'll talk about Razor Fist because he's the soup of the day. We'll talk about this situation. And I could have never imagined it going down the road that it did, as dark as it got, and how this person is a fairly large channel in the grand scheme of YouTube. And from what I understand, a lot of these allegations and things appeared a few years ago, and it kind of, he hid from it, stuck his head in the sand and just waited for it to blow over. And now he came back and he starts defending Goonergate, and people start looking into him again, and they're like, whoa, hold up.
Nobody looked into this happening at the time because it was literal personal drama between him and his girlfriend. In fact, nobody spoke anything about it because nobody was sure about the situation, and they don't speak on things that they're unsure about. Certainly did not stop you, did it?
This is some wild stuff.
okay, so this is Razor Fist jerk-off tape that he uploaded to the internet in 2011. He uploaded it himself. This is him fucking jacking himself off there online. I'm not kidding.
And then you fucking put this up here. Where's the journalistic integrity here, just Smash JT? Everybody needed to see that this material existed? I wonder how he will feel about you in the future.
Send you an arrow than this reply.
I wonder how he'll react knowing that you have done this. Probably he'll just give you a big old smooch on the cheek, right? There's not possible ways that this just leads to you milking it in the future.
Totally normal thing.
This is Razor Fist.
Totally normal thing for someone to do, of course. That would tell people that Melanie Mack is correct about gooning for video games. Would of course be someone that would do something like this.
Taking his little fucking pecker and rubbing it until full fucking completion. He filmed this and uploaded it, so far as I know, by himself on Slutload. So just remember, folks, this is the moral arbiter telling you what you can jerk off to, what you can look at, what you can't look at, saying it's going to cause lustful thoughts. Seems like maybe it's projection, bro.
Always
Seems like
the
maybe you
same
need to eat
thing
the
with these
vegetables,
people.
and the real Christians can eat the meat, brother, because they're not tempted to goon and post pictures of themselves, or videos rather, of them masturbating to completion online.
Ash, we have George in chat asking, what is Slutload?
Well, that's apparently where this was uploaded to. I hadn't heard of it before today.
I've never heard of Slutload.
But here we are.
Facts, by the way.
Here
Never
we
heard of
are.
that.
It's just a porn site. It's not a special porn site. It's just a porn site outside of billions that exist that most people are aware of.
Now, here we have Razor Fist with his 18-year-old GF.
Okay.
I believe he was 32 here at the time.
Okay.
And this girl was 18.
That's quite the gap, but still legal, but quite the gap.
Okay.
Maybe the community is going to speak up and say, yeah, this is not the type of person that I want leading anybody or telling people how they should be living their lives, because yikes.
22. Which means she's 22 in 2022. She's born in the year 2000. The problem is, her and Razor started talking in 2015, which would put her at 15 years old. That's her story. Oh, you know, that's her story. Razor Fist, by the way, was born, I believe, in 1985.
I should clip that for whatever I get
that
silent
would put
one.
him
Thank you,
in
man.
2015 at about 30 years old.
This is some pretty serious stuff, some serious allegations, and with all this coming to light, it looks like cooler heads are going to prevail and do the right thing moving forward. But holy crap, again, bringing it back to the beginning of this video, I don't think anybody in their wildest imaginations could have ever dreamed or had nightmares about how dark Goonergate would actually go. And we're just a couple weeks into it. So yeah, I hope it was worth it for standing on this hill and trying to speak down on people on how they enjoy their video games, because the first thing people do when you come for their video games is start wondering, why do you feel like you're the one in a position to tell anybody what they can do with their games? I'm going to leave it there. If you guys appreciate what I'm doing, hit that join button. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
Okay, so there they are. Now we're going to have an example of them and how they interacted on stream together.
Oh, they were on stream together. Cool. Cool.
Her name is Eve, by the way, folks. Her name is Eve.
His name Adam? Go ahead, Cox. All right.
Felix Wolf, I say.
Whoa, that's really low.
Yeah.
I can't hear.
Let's see if we can boost this.
I can't. That's like full max volume.
All right.
On max. Let's just.
Wolf, I say Razor Fist for president. I say that would be a massive mistake.
You said Razor Fist for president.
Yeah. Hold on.
Says, here is some.
And me as the first lady.
Right?
Oh my God! Ban the fucking Jews.
What?
Whoa, wait,
Whoa,
Big
buddy!
ball,
What
you
did she
guys.
say in a minute? What? Gabe wouldn't be happy with Razor's jail date GF there.
What did she say?
So
yes, first lady banning the Jews.
that's what she would do as first lady. She was based, or I guess I don't know.
I mean,
Did she really say that?
Razor Fist
That's what I
there
thought
is
she
his
said.
18-year-old sweetheart Eve.
What a news story, Smash J team. You also didn't end it with your goddamn theme song. How wonderful. How cool. How great. How wonderful. Certainly things that are just lovely to have.
Ubisoft.
Vara, please sanitize my fucking eardrums and tell me about some shit.
Ubisoft has royally screwed themselves over the past year. Skull and Bones was a quadruple A failure. X-Defiant.
Ah, Skull and Bones. The fucking lead-in for Sea of Thieves' replacement, which couldn't fucking replace it, because if you're playing a game that is all about you spending time in the game world and getting the prestiges and the events and the curses to express your character, why would you ever play another fucking game that's the exact same, but worse?
Wasn't the COD killer they wanted it to be. Star Wars Outlaws was a flop, and Assassin's Creed Shadows has been delayed multiple times, it's faced multiple controversies, and even the recent gameplay event that they held went terribly for them. But now Ubisoft is shutting down another studio and laying off nearly 200 people. Before I get into the topic though, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube membership. So yes, Ubisoft has announced that it was shutting down another studio and is laying off around 185 people across its entire business. And I do not like to revel in the fact that people are losing their jobs, but at the end of the day, if you are not good at the job you are being paid for, you really do not deserve to have that job. And that is a big problem with Ubisoft right now. Even the Assassin's Creed franchise franchise lead had admitted that they hired primarily juniors for AC Shadows. Like, that is not good news to hear. And yes, I love people being given opportunities, especially people who are new to an industry, who are just that talented, that you shouldn't keep them on the sidelines. But there comes a point where you need to be looking at your failed project after project after project and ask, what can we do differently? And that just happens to be cutting down on some of the numbers and maybe going back to the point where they have enough money to hire talented people again. So Tom Phillips at Eurogamer has reported that Ubisoft shut down Ubisoft Leamington, which was located in England. The studio's 50-person staff is being disbanded. According to Moby Games, their most recent releases included Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora and Watch Dogs Legion. I didn't play Watch Dogs Legion. I did not hear very good things about it. I heard it was just a very mid experience, but I did play Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, and initially I was very excited for this. It looked beautiful. It seemed that there were a lot of cool systems, and I was really interested in exploring Pandora and learning more about this world, because at that point we only had one movie and it was really, really bad. It was buggy, it was glitchy, it was repetitive, it was just a major disappointment. But not only did they work on those two games, there are several others, because the studio also worked as a support studio on the Division series and also assisted development on games like Star Wars Outlaws, Skull and Bones, and Far Cry 5, which Far Cry 5 did pretty good. The Division series has had its ups and downs, and then Star Wars Outlaws was a flop. It was the game that they put the most amount of money ever towards marketing, and you would think Star Wars, right? Big name, people would line up to buy it. It did not sell what they expected. And then Skull and Bones was a quadruple A failure. They dumped hundreds of millions into it just to a year later have it basically be dead, which is, I can't say that's shocking when you have a game, right, that you're marketing as quadruple A. We expect more than a double A experience, and we didn't get that. Skull and Bones was supposed to be major, it was supposed to be around for years and years, and it completely flopped. And with a title like Star Wars Outlaws, they wanted it to do better than Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. Those two games combined sold 15 million copies, which is a hell of a lot. They were really great games. Star Wars Outlaws was just a mediocre experience all around it. Of course, leading up to release, it did face a lot of backlash, so sure, this studio was not the primary studio behind games like Outlaws and Skull and Bones, but they did help in its eventual death.
I would say that the death of any kind of game that comes from a studio that's turning out bad products is just a failure of the marketplace to understand what the consumers want and then giving them what they asked for. Most of us didn't ask for Star Wars. We didn't ask for more Star Wars games. If they would have asked for one in the degree of it, they would have asked more for Jedi Survivor. Because if anything, Cameron Monaghan quite literally is a fucking Star Wars character. And the story of Cal Kestis carries on what you would have expected out of something if you were able to get Star Killer type stories and work. The fact that it doesn't get more, or it gets less than what it has right now, is directly to the detriment of the majority of the people who'd be concerned with it. So ultimately, the amount of work that you could have done in those games comes down to and goes down to them just not communicating across the studio and the companies what was the best outcome for them to make shit for. So no matter what, it's still going to end up being dog shit no matter what.
He did kill these games or assist kill.
Hey, Carl, just found your channel. Great commentary. Thank you, Ricky Spanish. Who sent you to me? I just joined. Can someone explain what happened at Razor Fist? Smash JT wants to start doing drama mill content. He found a Kano Casino stream featuring PPP and Andy Worski, and decided to bring internet blood sports into video game zeitgeist, which is part of the reason why we do not do internet blood sport content anymore, because it can never just be Bant's hat on a live stream. Instead, he's now doing drama across the timeline because he wants to do character assassination.
These games, but on top of that,
all Ubisoft had to really do for Skull and Crossbones was just scaled up Assassin's Creed 4. I agree with you, because clearly Assassin's Creed 4 was just a pirate game in disguise. They didn't need to say that it was Assassin's Creed. It could have just been a pirate game.
And being shut down, Phillips also shared that other Ubisoft offices in formerly Blue Byte, Stockholm and Newcastle-based Ubisoft Reflections will be downsized. So lots of downsizes going on, and sure, the industry right now is not in a perfect place. We're seeing a lot of people being laid off, a lot of studios being closed, a lot of acquisitions happening because they wouldn't be able to stay open otherwise. And this is just par for the course, especially for a company like Ubisoft, who just back in 2021 had a market cap of $12 billion, and now it's under $2 billion. That is a drastic drop in only a few years, and I do genuinely believe that Assassin's Creed Shadows is the make or break for this company. If they do not create an amazing experience here, which, judging by what we've seen so far, I don't think that's going to happen, I do think that we are going to see the buyout, we are going to see them be taken private, I do think that we are going to see thousands of employees laid off, maybe 2 to 3 games releasing a year, but very strategic moves. And that's just not how Ubisoft has been for years at this point, but they're kind of getting what they deserve. They have some amazing franchises, some amazing characters they could work with, but instead they decide to create the Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, where it's repetitive and it really doesn't have a lot of innovation behind it. Skull and Bones, which was just this gigantic game that didn't have a lot of substance, and then Star Wars Outlaws, which wasn't the worst game I've ever played for what I could play, because I personally couldn't finish my live stream playthrough because I reached a game-breaking bug where I could not progress the main storyline. So what I played, I wouldn't have given it a 0 out of 10, but I can't even give it a rating because I couldn't fucking finish it. And this announcement also comes in the wake of Ubisoft announcing it would shut down X-Defiant last month and transition half of the team to other positions within the company. This is also another game that completely failed for them. They expected it to be the COD killer. They waited too many years to actually release it, and it ended up just being an okay experience. Just a few weeks ago, Yves Guillemot had an email he sent out leaked where he indicated more layoffs would be on the way, and we're definitely seeing them happening. And of course, gamers are not responding to this the way that Ubisoft would hope. People are not lining up to defend them, saying, oh my god, we feel so bad for these developers. I wish that they'd be given more of an opportunity. No, people are roasting them. Definitive proof that the more you fuck around, the more you find out. Absolutely savage. Excellent. Let us celebrate them reaping what they sow. This can't be right. I was assured that both those games were quadruple A and gaming's ultimate peak. Well, the curtain is about to fall. Have fun not owning your games. Oh no. Anyway, this was also a major controversy that they have been in. It was hilariously out of touch. Have fun not owning your games. Yikes. I can live with that. Bit sad about Blue Byte though. They were a big part of my childhood and still make decent games. 185 DEI losers lost to the wind. Good riddance. Is Ubisoft in trouble or finally clearing the way to be decent again? Time will tell, but there can be no improvement in games until mass firings happen. I do not think that they could just magically change. I think it would take years and years and years in order to see them change, and I just do not have any blind faith towards these companies anymore. I'm not going to sit here and ask, oh, is Ubisoft getting better? Because until I actually see...
Realistically, Ubisoft is never going to get better. They're going to go the way of the dodo because of the inability to listen to people who actually have understandings in what the consumer base wants. I don't think I could really be upset over the fact that if I were the person in that position, that the reason why they can't be able to get deals done is because they were effectively told lies. In general, they were told lies about what their predictable look-throughs would be. They were told they would get trust. They were told they would get involvement. They were told they would get collaboration. And they were just told multitudes of useless pieces of consumer knowledge that didn't pan out. They didn't pan out. And now they ultimately have to permanently eat shit because of this thing that they cannot be able to get off the ground now, as a direct consequence of them having done so.
Something that makes me believe that they're getting better. A few layoffs isn't really going to change that, so I will be keeping my eye on the situation. I wonder if Ubisoft will make any statements, if any disgruntled developers will come forward and leak any other information or say, hey, listen, things are really that bad at Ubisoft. But for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike.
I love Mediacom. Mediacom is such a great company. Mediacom is a company that I would rely on for my ability to like and appreciate the shit that I have to buy. I love Mediacom. Boy, do I love Mediacom. Mediacom's so great. Now, Rambakino Casino directly in my veins.
Everybody during their childhood collected spiders, put them in a jar and shaken it. Oh no! Anissa got fucking suckered there. So iDubbbz and Anissa, at this point, like, we are basically the last bastion of anybody who gives a single fuck about these two. Really, like, it's gotten so bad that, like, Kiwi Farms, like, nobody will summarize it anymore. Nobody watches this crap anymore. And even Anissa is at the point where she wants to quit. And I'm telling you guys this right now. I went through and edited this last night. And through the first hour, and I would say 5 minutes of the hour and 40 minutes, I had 30 seconds of content. And I used that very loosely.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I've sat through over an hour of this mind-numbing garbage for nothing. And then, out of nowhere, like an oasis in the desert, like if you can imagine just a thirsty, starving man in the Sahara Desert crawling on his hands and knees in tattered clothes. And then through the mirage in the sand, you see a beautiful spring with like beautiful women and coconuts and like water, and it's like, whoa, it's paradise. Suddenly there came before me content like that. Anissa wanting to rage quit the podcast, saying that iDubbbz should get a new co-host if he wants to do the podcast. iDubbbz trying to come up with reasons why Anissa should stay, and he couldn't think of any. And then it like culminates in like a showdown where Anissa is calling out iDubbbz for not changing the toilet paper and pissing on the floor. And then iDubbbz just declares that he's cheating on Anissa. But like, it's crazy. So the whole concept of this podcast, this edition of She Ruined My Career, by the way, is that they're watching these TikTokers who are rednecks, and like it's them dunking on them for being simple, stupid country yokels that are ignorant. Well, they're actually even more ignorant than the stupid country yokels, is basically what it is. At one point, the rednecks are debating who would win a tug of war between a Clydesdale horse and a whale. Every time this pulls up, it's so funny to me. And he's just like desperate, you know, he has to keep clinging to it because otherwise the haters win. But the haters have already won.
Oh yeah.
Like it was a long time ago in a YouTube far away that the haters won. At this point, you guys have been pulverized into fucking dust. The ashes have been spread in the fucking ocean and they're gone. Okay? It's over. But these guys are like, no, we have to persist. Like getting like 2,000. Okay, so I saw this, and I'm sure it's higher now. But on day one of this podcast, when I went to download it, guess how many views it had publicly on YouTube?
2,500.
No.
What? 2,000.
No.
1,800.
And mind you, this is at the 7-hour mark of it being up.
1,600.
No.
1,000?
No.
800?
No.
500.
They had 567 views in 7 hours. 567 views in 7 hours, buddy.
Another fucking bot awful situation. Remember, we tried to watch this and it was fucking dry as shit and it made Horror want to blow her brains out. Well, if you keep mining long enough, you find fucking diamonds, boys.
Stop.
Now let's watch this pressure.
It's like it's time to pull the plug. It's time to pull the plug, bro. This was the first hour and 10 minutes of the show. And this is Anissa's riveting commentary as who would win a presidential election. Doja Cat or Honey Boo Boo?
Could you?
And it's like, both of these people have been irrelevant for like years and years. Like Honey Boo Boo like has been irrelevant for like a decade.
Look at that shirt on bottom there and look at mine.
Whoa, buddy.
But yeah, like, Honey Boo Boo. Okay, hi. 2010? How old is that show?
Man.
Or
Oh, I see how you're cooking.
Honey Boo Boo.
Honey Boo Boo is not really relevant anymore.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, hallelujah, Brother Dane. Hallelujah, Brother Dane just felt very clean.
He's like,
you know, he's had enough.
Honey Boo Boo kind of has a Trump type face, though, right?
She does have a Trump vibe.
What are we talking
oh
about?
my god, it's like
What are we talking
she was a child 15 years ago.
Oh,
Is Honey Boo Boo still doing anything? The answer is probably not. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm sure there's still some grift out there to keep the hope alive, but it's certainly not anything any of us have seen.
Being held by Jack Black.
I didn't. Oh, wait! I didn't know this. That like salt is. Well, I did know this. That salt is like very important for like life forms to function because.
No shit! Oh my god! Dude, seriously, this is I'm saying. Like I got 30 seconds out of the first hour and 10 minutes of this slob. Wow, Dr. Anissa letting us assault him for okay.
No shit.
You're saying ring the big bell. She's read.
You need to have a way to do both bells at the same time.
Oh man, I only have so many fucking hands, buddy.
You know, you need it for like muscle. For your muscles to twitch. It's for electrical current in the body.
Okay.
Like autistic community, I fucking love you, but this is what it sounds like when you
get into it.
when you meet someone for the first time when you're talking.
Whoa! That sounds a bit rude.
Isn't that
the autist?
disrespectful to the autistic community? That's the thing is, Anissa wants to pretend that she's so progressive and so loving, but she's actually just a condescending bitch who looks down her nose at anybody who's different, and she views them as you know?
That's
like,
how
it's
I
straight
do.
up what she's saying. A couple months ago, she stolen valored autism, and now she's back to shitting on autistic people? Like, you can't do this, Anissa.
Sorry, autists. Aren't you one of them? And isn't she also like Muslim and Indian or some shit?
Oh, yeah, she's Muslim.
With no intro, by the way.
There's no intro. It's just like
in this episode, I should have clipped it, but like I feel like it's already been established that Anissa is a fake Muslim. But in this episode, she admits to eating haram. She admits to eating alligator and eating haram, and that she doesn't care. So it's like you're not a Muslim then.
Yeah.
You're just totally full of shit.
What is haram?
It means it's sinful in Islam.
Good.
Is basically.
I just want to say I love it and I love you for it. I'm just letting you know this is what an autistic meeting is like.
Straight into
this whole
Straight into
podcast.
it.
It means I don't even think of that lamb. So
To me, it gives me the same feeling as when I was.
You know, that's how desperate I was for content by this point, is that I was actually gonna A-log Dane saying that he had never eaten lamb. That's how dry this content desert was, folks.
I was about to ask you. I was like,
you know,
what was that?
You know, guys, like, this is how sad it gets. Watching this shit, you're like, well, you know, that's kind of a wild statement, I guess.
The store, and my mom would run into her friend, and I was like a little 5-year-old child, and they were talking, and I was kind of just like kind of listening, kind of not.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Dane?
It does.
Not really.
Yeah, okay.
Dane salted them again. No, but listen to what she's saying. It doesn't make any sense at all.
What did she
She's
say?
talking
I was
about
mad.
being a little 5-year-old child, like, I don't know, that wasn't listening. And iDubbbz is like, yeah, that makes sense, honey. And Dane finally, just with a reality check, it's like, no, that doesn't make any fucking sense
at all.
This is stupid.
It's fair.
Like, it's just nonsense.
Why don't they
It's
just...
like when you're a kid and you put all the spiders in the jar, and then they're not doing anything, so you shake it up.
What?
But Ian,
he collected spiders and put them in a jar?
Yeah,
What the
I know, like,
fuck?
whoa, hasn't everybody during their childhood collected spiders, put them in a jar and shaken it?
No.
Like, that's demented.
That's scary.
Self-report from iDubbbz there. This guy is a psychopath, man. He's not normal. He's a freak.
The spider jar?
The spider jar? Imagine being cruel to spiders. Like, it's kind of like, I don't want anything to do with spiders. I don't want to collect them. I don't want to I just prefer they stay the fuck away from me. Like, most people I feel are like that. It takes a special sort of demented person to have a fascination with spiders, but not just to be fascinated about them, but to want to, like, to cruelly torture them.
I used to put them on my hand and put them outside. I would never kill them. I would always put them on my hand, walk outside, and
Good guy, Wars.
I always felt like it was like,
I couldn't fuck with spiders as a child. Because I knew what a Black Widow was, I was scared of every single spider. As long as the fuck away from me, I didn't have anything to fucking do with it, man.
Like,
get to the shit.
Giddy, because it's like, spider, who fucking cares?
It's like a
He collected them in the jar and shook the jar to kill them?
Nobody.
Their legs are cracky. Like, what the f?
Experience.
This would be easy. I could have a fucking podcast with 1 million subscribers.
Stop.
Bro, you couldn't, like, so this is what he's saying now. So these two rednecks, who, by the way, like, they weren't that amazing. Okay, they weren't anything special. They were just two normal guys from the South talking about beer and fishing and what if a chimpanzee fought a rattlesnake and shit like this.
Like Joe Rogan
yeah,
style.
some like Joe Rogan stuff, right? So then iDubbbz starts saying, oh, if only I had these guys as my co-hosts, I would have 1 million, subscriber podcast. And then Anissa is just like so hurt by this statement. You can see in her eyes she's hurt. She starts saying, well, why don't you just bring them on? I don't even want to do this anyway. You forced me to do it. Just get ready. This is now where the content oasis opens up.
Okay.
Before that, we were in like a long, dark march through a desert of hell. And finally, we reached the oasis.
Were we, or was Dane not eating lamb breakthrough?
Oh, I know. I'm like, God, I have to cover Dane not eating the lamb. I'm like, it's game over. I can't even present this. Like, it's over.
Right now.
By the way, Scuba Steve for a sub. Let's go.
Let's go.
Fucking did a podcast with him.
Here's the crazy thing. I want that in a perfect world. I would want that for you.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't...
Listen to her. In a perfect world, I want that for you. I want you to have a huge podcast with funny co-hosts. Because I don't want to do this show anymore, Ian. I've told you this 1 million times, and now I'm doing it publicly to humiliate you. I don't want to do the show. It sucks.
I don't want to be here.
I don't want to be here.
It's an hour
And
a
the
week.
truth shall set you free. She doesn't want to be here. There's no instant gratification. There's no money. There's no fans. There's no clout. There's no success. It's a horrible show. It's just the lowest of the low. And she's like, Ian, I don't want to be here anymore.
I want to be here a little bit, but not enough to like. If you told me tomorrow you and Rob were making you were replacing me with Rob, I would be like finally, because I
finally. Oh no!
Buddy, are you kidding me?
I doing makeup, talking at. I can't shut up.
She's like, she doesn't want to have to do the makeup to put in the smallest amount of effort to appear on camera for 1 hour and talk.
That's it, an hour, bro.
And she's talking about how she talks too much and it irritates Ian, and he doesn't like how much she yaps on the show.
Like I can't help it. And you probably would. This would be doing a lot better.
No, but you got to think about it.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that stunning admission from Anissa? She said if she wasn't here, the podcast would do way better, which is an undeniable fact. The truth is here. It's time for the truth to finally have its day. This is a brutal clip, bro.
Like I can't help it. So all of these things would go away, and you probably would. This would be doing a lot better.
No, but you got to think about it.
Think about what? She's right.
And now
She's actually right.
He can't come up with anything. He's like, but wait, you got to think about.
And then he doesn't come up with anything.
He can't come up with shit.
I would like it.
You can't.
You can find a Rob.
What?
You can't discount.
He's got nothing.
You can't discount the fact that we have no
legitimately nothing. And she's like, you could find a good co-host. This could be a successful show. Why must you keep me here? And the reason why is because Ian is determined that this worthless succubus bitch contributes something to the household, no matter how small. You know, so it's like, listen, you wanted to ruin my career. You wanted to do this OnlyFans. You forced me through this humiliation ritual. Then you're going to be here once a week. You wanted to be an e-celeb. You got it. So here it is, to deal with the Faustian bargain of e-celebrity. You get all the haters, all the trolls, all the negativity and toxicity, but none of the money or fans. Enjoy, bitch. Soft bitch.
The worst fucking, the worst things from every portion.
Yeah.
A woman's touch. You can't discount. What is that?
That's all he can come up with. That's all he can come up with.
A woman's touch is what you use for your like house, or for, you know what I mean. You don't use it for like podcast, like a woman's touch podcast content.
He should find a good co-host and rename the show to "She Used to Ruin My Career," and they felt Anissa every show. He should just go over old clips of this where she's making fun of him and just dog on her and just call her out for what a bitch she is.
Underpants Gnome says, don't they live in LA? Oh, why didn't their house burn down? Oh, that's right.
No.
They live in the poor part.
No, they moved to Seattle, actually.
Seattle,
the only place worse, yeah.
I like having a more balanced podcast. You know what I mean?
Look at Anissa.
He knew he was bullshitting.
Yeah, she knows it's bullshit. Look at that side eye. She's like, no.
She's like,
not at all. Not at all.
I mean,
fresh.
I love.
I've seen more chemistry between the two rocks than Ian and Anissa. Well, welcome back, Just a Girl. We are now watching what is meant to be a historic crash out of iDubbbz finally putting his balls back on, firmly out of Anissa's purse and back on his body, as he tells her live on air on this broadcast that he's cheating on her. Provided to us by Ash and Andy.
Your opinions. I love you gabbing and yapping.
Yapping about.
I love your Yappuccino, babe. It's so, she's like, she doesn't believe him at all. In fact, I'm pretty sure she's about to call him a liar, straight up.
Look at this girl's face. What the f is going on here?
That face when you're married to iDubbbz, the cock.
I wish Ian would find a new co-host.
Oh, that's so selfish. And that's her basically saying, I wish Ian would find a new wife at the same, isn't it?
Basically.
Look at the way she's looking at him. She's pissed. She doesn't want to be here.
She's cheating. Look at him. He's like, am I in the doghouse?
You can't say that because then people are going to be like, actually, you're fishing right now.
No, I'm...
Look at this. iDubbbz turns it around.
Wait
and he
a
goes,
second.
You're fishing for compliments, aren't you, bitch?
You know
You're
what he was
fishing for sympathy?
He was about
knows
to be like,
what's going on.
No, but he was about to go like, the casino, they're gonna like love that you said that, right? He was about to say that.
Bro, why don't they just edit this shit out? You know what I mean? But this is the only content, and it's so few and far between. But this is a real fight. Like, this is a real marriage, like, crumbling before our eyes. Within the subtext of this conversation, it's Kino. It really is.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Because now everyone's going to be like,
well, I'm not fishing. No, well, I'm not fishing. Nobody say nice things in the comments. I know that people like me on this. I don't need you to tell me.
She goes, I know people like me on this show. No, and that's why she was fishing there. And Ian called her out straight up, and she got felted.
Maximum damage.
Maximum damage to your career, maximum damage to your marriage, maximum damage to the podcast. Like, it's over.
Bro, 1.8K in a day and a half.
I wasn't lying when I said it was 567 in a fucking 7-hour span, dude.
Oh, man.
Okay, I'm good. But
interest
for reference, our Ricada video in fucking 4 hours had 12K views. And by the way, our iDubbbz podcast videos get 27,000 and more views.
Oh man.
You know, since the birth of this podcast,
oh yeah,
one of us has not wanted to come along for the ride.
Oh no! Oh no! Look at Anissa, bro. She's like genuinely hurt. She's like, since the very beginning of this show, I haven't wanted to do it, and you forced me to do it. And she's playing the victim and throwing Ian under the bus. Like, this is bullshit, dude.
Bro.
There's such hatred between these two.
It's me. It's been me the whole time. That's why it's
and she calls him out as a liar. Bring it back. This is too good, bro. This is some good shit. Then Ian goes, yeah, it's been me. I haven't wanted to do this garbage. You've been forcing me to do it. And then Anissa just goes, don't you fucking lie. Don't you? And she posts, don't you fucking lie.
Wait, Ethan Ralph's wonky hand makes a great point here. She said like 20, 30 apps ago, she wanted this to be like Joe Rogan's podcast. Like, you know what I mean? She's bullshitting. She was in for the ride the whole
Exactly.
time.
She's just doesn't want to do it now because there's no viewers and it failed.
Yeah, exactly.
Which they should just pull the plug on it, really, but then the haters would win. Which, you know, it's just let them win. Who cares? They already won, but
has not wanted to come along for the ride. And I'll let you guess which one it is.
It's me. It's been me the whole time.
Fucking lie.
That's why it's titled that way.
Oh my god. So
that's why it's titled
everything.
She Ruined My Career. Oh, let's go. Bring it up, Ian Dub. He's like, that's why it's called that, because you ruined my career.
I'm just saying, I'm laying the groundwork right here. I'm laying it out there.
She's laying the groundwork for the snakening of Ian. Remember, she tried to do the same thing with the OnlyFans, where she said it was all Ian's fault and Ian made her do it and she didn't really want to do the OnlyFans. She did the exact same thing, and now she's trying to do it with the podcast as well. And when she leaves or the divorce happens, which it looks imminent, she's gonna try and claim the victim status on everything and make it out that it was all Ian's fault that it failed. Like, she's so evil.
It's very twisted.
You seem a little giddy today.
I am a little bit. I'm feeling good.
So quit threatening our audience with you leaving. All right, we're almost.
And then she just flips off like, whoa, buddy.
We're almost done with this. We're almost done. There's just a couple more that have good vibes.
That wasn't at you guys, by the way. That was at him.
Who do you think?
Oh, no!
Stop!
Ian Bros, no!
Stop!
It's just one of those days.
That comes with like marrying a man.
See this? Okay, so now some people might think I'm stretching here, but I don't really think I am. Okay.
Okay.
So they're talking about these guys and like what it would be like being married to a simple redneck yokel piece of shit like this. And Anissa basically starts implying that dating one of these guys would be exactly like dating either. And she brings up complaints that she's brought up about Ian specifically in the past. Like just last week, she was talking about the toilet paper roll. So let's have a look here.
Okay.
Like this, like imagine this is your husband.
It's true.
It's a little bit simple.
It's true.
But he's also expecting you to do all the housework.
Yeah, and he's definitely not changing the toilet roll when it runs out.
See it's about something else, isn't it? Am I not right? It's about some.
Dude, that is a jab at iDubbbz. 110%.
100%, dude.
No, guys, if you don't remember, if you're watching AP.
Toilet. Okay. They're making an appointment for her face.
this in the clip channel in the future, and it's like all jumbled up and not watching in order. On the last episode, 65, she was like, you never changed the toilet roll and da-da-da. Like, it was like a big, like, part of the show. And, like, this is completely a shot at iDubbbz.
And he's definitely, like...
But he's a simple man.
Peeing on the floor.
So now she's felting iDubbbz for pissing on the floor and not cleaning it up. And iDubbbz is cope laughing. He's cope laughing to try and get through this. But this is clearly a pointed shot from Anissa, and she's gonna go further with it. And then iDubbbz is gonna push back with his own reality. And I'm sure that this marriage is gonna fail.
Buddy, I can't even, like...
A simple kind of man. He's not going to ask you any hard questions.
Yeah. But he's definitely peeing on the floor and not cleaning it up.
And he's definitely cheating on you.
Yeah.
Oh! And look at Anissa's face. And Anissa got fucking suckered there.
Okay.
He is, bro.
So clearly, she's targeting iDubbbz about the toilet roll and the peeing on the floor to mock him. But then he went like hard, like straight up,
straight to the throat. Yeah, I'm cheating on you, then, bitch. Like, is that like? Am I wrong to interpret it that way?
Not wrong at all. No, you're literally like reading.
What do you guys think in chat? Like,
it's easy to see that that's what the case is.
But now watch Anissa's reaction.
What if you?
Oh,
and he's like, yeah, bitch.
And he's smug and he's laughing. He's laughing.
Buddy, she got felt. I want to re-see that. I got to re-see that.
Definitely not changing the toilet roll when.
So that was a fucking, again, I'll say it one more time, a 5-minute scene on the last show about the whole roll thing, right?
It runs out. And he's definitely.
So iDubbbz is like annoyed here. He's like,
Definitely like.
But he's a simple man.
Peeing on the floor.
Now iDubbbz is like, oh, okay, you're making fun of me. We had a fight. I peed on the floor by accident. Now you're gonna felt me here.
She's gonna double down on it and be like, and you didn't clean it up.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is bullshit. You can't just say I'm pissing on the floor and not cleaning it up.
Yeah.
So he's gonna hit her. And I think somebody in chat says it's like more of a power thing that he could cheat. Not that he necessarily is, but if he did, like, Anissa's already like cheated on him probably 50 times with all sorts of bulls and OnlyFans people and shit like that. So is it really even cheating at that point, or is it just justice? I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, play the video.
Simple kind of man. He's not going to ask you any hard questions.
Yeah, but he's definitely peeing on the floor and not cleaning it up.
And he's definitely cheating on you.
Yeah, yeah.
What if you get? But if you get?
If you walk by your counter, your kitchen counter, and you're like, oh, I could.
So that was really the peak of the content right there.
No,
it was.
You're not imagining things. That's literally what happened. And it's honestly getting more vicious by the app. These passive aggressive remarks. This is gonna end in a murder. Mark my words right now. Mark my
buddy,
words.
it's ending in a Benoit.
Yeah.
Give it a little wipe. Give it a little wipe. And
so you notice Ian is totally checked out.
Well, he's mad. He's mad.
Yeah, he's pissed. He's on his phone. He's not listening to anything she's fucking saying. He's not engaged in the podcast. They hate each other. And this show, this relationship, it's on the rocks big time.
Oh, buddy.
Wipes are so fucking awesome. Have them in your house. Rub your handles with them. Freaking go buck wild with the Clorox wipes.
Okay, stop. Are we talking about Clorox wipes?
I'm serious. These are people in their 30s. Like, I'm sure we all know of Clorox wipes, Anissa.
I have Clorox wipes, and I've never said the name of them in my life.
This is your content, sir. And this is out of like an hour and 45 minutes.
Who gives a fuck about Clorox
I'm
wipes?
Serious, bro. It's the worst show ever. Yeah, iDubbbz is texting the side bish. iDubbbz is like, yo, old ladies being a hoe. Like, this show sucks. My career is dying. Like,
Clorox wipes.
Clorox
yeah,
wipes.
And vacuum at least once a week.
A week?
What? Once a week?
What? You have dogs, bitch. What the fuck are you talking about?
Bruh!
But what?
Yeah.
There you go.
Just stay on top of it.
There you go.
What's the week is staying on top of it?
I find it so funny that this fucking fight that they're having between the two of them is like two people in a loveless marriage, obviously, but it's just so fucking casual. Just casually making fun of each other for money and content. Just, yeah, I would rather date one of these guys. Yeah, and I'd probably fucking cheat on you. Yeah, right in front of everybody. By no means am I gonna try to cover things up for your dignity. Yeah, go fuck yourself. Yeah. I'm sick. I'm fucking sick and disgusted. And not the kind of, I'm just sick and disgusted, man. Why didn't you guys just quietly end this fucking show? If you're at the point where you're just gonna have your fucking marriage counseling wide open in front of the goddamn internet, and not a single person is gonna stop the shit because most of their money fucking relies on it, why not at this point just give the fucking project to her and let her do whatever the fuck she wants with it? Why are you being forced to do it? Why are you dragging her through it? And then why are you making the both of yourselves miserable? But hey, you told her to her face something live on the internet, and I guess that counts for something. Now everybody can say that you did it.
Small things become big things, so take care of them small things.
Yep.
I like that. I'll
Wash
leave it
your
at
sheets.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like how about wipe your ass? Take a shower,
brush your
fucking
teeth,
wash your hands, comb your hair. Fuck, okay.
Wait, she goes. She's telling you to wash your shit. I hope you wash your sheets, bro. Like
Wipe your ass too.
I'm sick of this, bro.
This is a fight.
This is a fight, bro.
This is a fight.
You can tell this is a knockdown, drag-out war between these two. He is like, yeah, great advice. Why don't you wipe your ass? He literally did the PPPA log. I didn't even remember that he said that.
Yo, I'm fucking like, I'm losing my mind.
Whoa, man.
Eat your protein.
Mm-hmm. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Everything.
It's just a full-on meltdown.
He's on his phone.
He doesn't care, dude. He hates this show. He hates having to do it. Bro. But it's his punishment against Anissa. Like, he's forcing her to contribute something after she ruined everything.
Yeah, it's...
Bring it back. Like, let's listen to her rant here again. She's just losing it.
Yeah.
Wipe your ass too.
Eat your protein.
Mm-hmm. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
No reaction to any of this.
In this room, except for that dog.
Oh my God. Yo, bro.
Whoa.
That's fucking fun. There was nothing.
She's seething. She's trying to get his attention, and he just doesn't care.
Oh,
so that is going to do it for this episode of SRMC.
SRMZ.
Yes.
We're so close to.
She ruined my cock.
Whoa! The most staggering reveal of all. Look at how hurt Anissa is, but she ruined his cock. That's what he just said. He admitted that Anissa ruined his cock, and now they're gonna get into this weird fantasy where Anissa's stepping on his cock in high heels. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Why is...
Whoa, buddy. She sterilized him.
I think Dane is there to watch them fight.
You know?
I think he's a fan of the casino, and he's just there to be on our episodes. He's like,
I don't know anymore.
This show gets no views, but the guys who cover our show get the views, so...
Bring it back. Bring it back. This is fucking demented.
We're so close to.
She ruined
69.
my cock.
Oh, no.
With a pair of clippers.
People are.
By the way.
There's going to be high heels involved.
Okay.
Whoa. With a pair of clippers, like full-on fucking ball torture. She's stepping on his balls, like... I don't know. That might actually be the craziest iDub segment ever in a way.
It actually was.
It turned from just absolute nothing, like A-logging that Dane hadn't ate lamb, to like the complete destruction of the show and their marriage and iDubbbz Pinos. Like, it's crazy stuff.
But you know what? The lamb thing is pretty wild. You haven't eaten lamb?
What? Like, what sort of
everyone's trying
cultureless
lamb.
plebeian is this?
Like, you know, like a nice lamb chop, some ribs or whatever.
Pain. Did I? As a redneck, we get a bad rep. Most of the redneck men are gentlemen, and unlike Ian, we're hardworking. It's just only one of us who's... The only versions of us we're seeing from movies is the Stephen King novels and the world collapse. You don't go hungry because they can hunt, fish, and farm. Ultimately, I'm just fucking disgusted that this farce of a marriage has gone on for as long as it has, and the only reason why this shit's getting expressed here is because I guess he gets a turnaround. Things will become better for him. He won't be as fucked. His life won't be as ruined. Honestly, he's just cheat. At that point, you just cheat. At what point should you not just cheat if that's how you feel all the fucking time? Oh, look, the consequences of his actions. Goonergate gone wild. Razor with an RASORFIST gets exposed as a super gooner after spiritually degenerate comment. Wonderful. I'm not clicking that video, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos on my timeline that just popped up now. Then I've looked at that fucking Smash JT video. Tommy in it, Jack Manifold exposed Dream. Here comes Jack on that fucking news story. Aravan VT joins the crusade against PoE2 betas with Lily. Shed's still on the Destiny shit. I don't want to click on any of that. Don't want to click on any of that. Don't want to click on any of that. There's no fixing a man after you break him. Who is Clende?
It's been a very...
Holy beard.
very long time since I've seen a post in r/relationship advice go this viral, because not only did it go viral on Reddit, but it went viral on Twitter through the Explore page. We're going to be taking a look at this today, a bunch of the top replies, and we give my thoughts. And as always, I'd love for you to join the conversation in the comment section down below. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with many YouTube channels. Guys, let's take a look at this together, man. This is a heater, okay? I screamed at my husband over his hobbies, and now he's changed, and I don't know how to fix this. This has been all over the place. You know what's nice too? We're gonna read it in just a second. Is typically, I imagine that people want karma farming and they just make up a bunch of stories over on Reddit, but this one seems very, very genuine, to be honest with you. Plus, this is something that a lot of guys have to deal with, okay? Hey everyone, I need some advice about a situation with my husband. I'm 27 and female, he's 28 male, and we've been married for 4 years. He has a room where he keeps all of his hobbies: sim racing, aviation setups, soccer analyst tools, Lego sets, music production equipment. Basically, it's his sanctuary. He's super analytical and loves writing down and dissecting things from sports to politics. He's slightly on the spectrum and very introverted, so he doesn't have close friends. I'm really the only person he shares everything with. He's always inviting me into his space to be part of his interests. I love him and I appreciate that he wants to include me, but sometimes I just need some time for myself. Recently, I snapped. I yelled at him, saying some hurtful things I didn't mean, like how his interests bore me, that he needs to get a social life, and even questioned why I married him. I regret every word, but my anger got the best of me and I couldn't control it in that moment. Since then, he's completely changed. He stopped spending time in his room, moved to sleeping on the couch, and barely talks to me. He even ignored our usual tradition of watching our home nation's soccer team play, something he never skipped before. Instead, he was working on his laptop, breaking our no work at home rule. When I asked him about it, he said I didn't care about the game and mentioned that he maybe should be more like his father, who's a workaholic and whom my husband idolizes. He even added, I don't blame him for divorcing at the age of now. I've apologized multiple times, but he just says, it's okay, maybe you're right, and shuts down any attempts I make to talk about his interests. I'm terrified he's considering divorce. I know I messed up, but I don't know how to rebuild trust and help him feel valued and loved again. I don't want to lose him, but I'm unsure how to approach this and make amends. Any advice? Wow, that's a biggie, okay? That's a biggie. First of all, there is no making amends. He may just live with you for the rest of his life, but you have crushed him to a point of no return. If any girls, and I'm hoping that this reaches a female audience one day, if there are any of you out there watching this video, when you say something hurtful to a man, his brain will never forget it. His heart will never, ever forget it. He shared his passions with you. He shared the things that he loves with you, and you crushed it. It's okay to not be interested, and it's okay to have time for yourself. But you insulted him, everything he loves, and didn't you say, what was it? He questioned why I was married to him. That's what it was. It was something like that. I questioned why you were married to him. There is no excuse for that, okay?
That marriage is over.
Okay? Absolutely no excuse. If you truly do love this man and was married to him, that's what it was. It was something like that.
Always invited me to his space, part of his interest. Love and appreciate him. He completely changed, stopped talking to me, doesn't sleep with me in bed, apologize. He says, okay, maybe you're right, shuts down my attempts to ask him shit. I criticize my husband's hobbies and he's pulling away. Now, I think that if he's pulling away from you and he doesn't involve you in things, that doesn't mean he's going to divorce you. But it doesn't mean he's going to invite you to shit anymore. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Question why you were married to him. There is no excuse for that, okay? Absolutely no excuse. If you truly do love this man and you just let the anger get the best of you. No, you tried to hurt him and you did. And honestly, there are so many different scenarios within the context of a relationship that you can rebuild, you can fix, but when you insult a man to his core like that, he will truly never forget it. If you're a guy watching this video, I would imagine that there is a girl that at some point has insulted you throughout your life and you've carried that throughout the rest of your life. That's why so many men don't talk about their feelings. That's why so many men hold themselves to like their own little box and don't open up. And then women will have the audacity to be like, oh, why does he never just open up about how he feels? Like, you know, it's relating to that entire conversation. To your point though, this is the issue because we don't know to what point he is obsessing over his stuff. He probably isn't. It's like the same thing you hear all of these girls talking about, like how their husbands or boyfriends are addicted to video games, when in reality they play for like an hour, maybe 2 a day. I would imagine that with his—
Not me, baby! Right in my system! In my blood! Right there!
His Legos and his aviation stuff, that's a little bit more of the same, right? Then you would have justification in saying, hey, it's time for you to work a little bit more. But from how it seems, you love him, your house is all in order. And this is probably a fraction of what actually happened. If the girl's admitting, because if you guys have ever dealt with somebody before trying to take some sort of accountability within a relationship, this is not the full story. She probably said way worse things than that. Regardless, even if it's just this, you crushed this man to his absolute core. There is no fixing that, and he will never, ever forget it. Maybe he did need to work more. Maybe. But that's a nice conversation that you should have, not out of anger. He will never change. You have ruined that bond that he had with you forever. But guys, it's not just how I feel about it. I'd love to know what you guys think about it, and we're going to take a look at what people had to say both on Twitter and on Reddit, because again, this reached a wide audience. So this was literally the top reply to one of the posts on Twitter, okay? Said some hurtful things I didn't mean. Don't worry, he knows you meant it. That's the big thing. That's the real biggie right there. She did mean it. And for anybody who's either been hurt or has any understanding of relationships and women, obviously she meant it. There is no anger getting the best of me. There's truth within that anger. And he knows it. We all know it. You're not fooling anybody, lady, whoever you are. You are never, ever fooling anybody like us, okay? Economist had this to say, one of the reasons men get married is so that we can have our nerdy and socially awkward hobbies without judgment. That's the problem, right? That's a problem. He felt safe with this woman. He felt safe after speaking to his wife about this, showing he even has his own sanctuary, right? You just destroyed that completely. And typically I'm like, man, I am one of those people who read like the relationship issues online and stuff and go, okay, all of these comments just saying, honey, divorce him, it's time. Like, no, there's building to be had here. There's things that you can fix, but no, this one you can't fix, man. You absolutely can't fix that, okay? Let's continue on to another post. Questioning why you married him is really an awful thing to do. It's to sling someone regardless of anger or honesty. You can talk out what you regret saying to him, but pulling away is understandable. Absolutely pulling away is understandable in that, but if he continues, I don't know, man, because I was gonna say, like, what point could the girl actually end up leaving him? I just think this relationship is done. The love in this relationship from the guy's perspective is completely crushed, right? I was saying there's no way one can come back from saying stuff like that. That is hurtful and quite frankly puts off a lot of people. I wouldn't be surprised if he chooses to move out at some point. He's already isolating himself from her, which is step one. Yeah, the reply is absolutely correct. She broke him. She broke him. It's hard for any man to come back from that. Being truly broken is the worst feeling in the world, and you just feel like you're going through the motions every day. Every hope, dream, goal, and happiness is gone. It's what I imagine hell feels like. Yeah, honestly, that's the problem. I can't imagine that. Like, I have so many interests, like making videos, martial arts. Like, there are things that I really, really love, even gaming in general, movies, my shows. Like, there are so many things that I'm passionate about, like hanging out with my dog who's right next to me. If all of a sudden my wife just, I realized that she hated it all this time, and she really loathed me for it to some point, I personally wouldn't be able to come back from that. And it's different from like anybody. Like, as if I look at somebody and just they make fun of any hobbies that I have, I wouldn't think twice about it. But your partner, your wife, that would crush me to my core, man. That would absolutely crush me. Those things will never bring him any genuine joy again. Once a pull as a cast is over, something pure is always there. He may still build model airplanes, but deep down there will always be a voice questioning, is this actually lame? It's not necessarily like, is this actually lame? It's that my wife feels disgust for me when I do this, okay? But that's true. That's absolutely true. And I think I actually said this earlier. Those things will never bring him genuine joy again. Completely accurate. 100%. Let's continue on to the next post. You destroyed everything he cares about in one swoop. His hobbies and you are his world, and now all he has is work. Feel sorry of him. Yep, exactly. You destroyed everything he cares about in one swoop, and that's all it takes. And it wasn't a mistake. There's no way something like that's a mistake. Questioning why you're married to somebody? No, there's not. That's not anger getting the best of you. There was truth behind that. Married a nerd and now revealed that she is also disgusted at him with being a nerd. Married a nerd and now revealed that she is so disgusted at him for being a nerd. Married an introvert and is disgusted that he's an introvert. He opened up and invited her to his world as his person, and she spat in his face. It's over. Yep. Yeah, it's entirely true. I feel bad for him, man. I feel bad because if she's admitting that there's nothing wrong with him in this story, if she's actually admitting that, then it's so much worse than we actually saw, because she's probably said even more hurtful things that we don't even know about. Way too disrespectful. He's internalized the contempt that you express for him. He'll never forget it. Since you expressed that, you don't know why you married him. I think he's considerably considering why he married you. Completely true. Yeah, and he will never forget that, like I said. He will never forget that you questioned your marriage with him. You don't do that as a wife. Like the other comment saying, this lady completely broke him, this evil, evil person. It's not fair to call it a Lego obsession if he had a room full of nothing but Legos and was constantly spending money on them. That might be a valid criticism, but it sounds like the guy has some well-rounded interests and happens to have a few Lego sets as well. That's true. That's what I was talking about earlier. Girls nowadays completely over-exaggerate the obsession. I spend a good few hours every day on my computer working on YouTube over here. People would consider that an obsession. No, in reality, I have my whole family intact. I go to work and I come home, spend time with the family, make sure the dogs run. And people would dare look at me and say that I have an obsession with making content, okay? Obsession with anything else that I do. No, you just don't like it. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean that somebody is obsessed with it. And look, I am all for shaming any man who is truly obsessed with something, and not like if there's a husband out there who's just sitting around playing games all day, I am so for shaming that person. But women oftentimes completely over exaggerate it. Let's continue on to the next reply on this. You are not a safe person anymore. Under the words of anger, there is always truth. Most people aren't vicious enough to imagine hurtful words to put down on their partners. In a way, you meant everything you said, even if it is exaggerated without assuming it. You aren't safe for him right now, and I wonder why you exactly told him such things to begin with. Give him some space, excuse me. It's crazy. Exactly right. She broke the image he had of her in a cruel way. Like I said, I don't know how many times I need to say it, guys. The internet's right on this one. She broke him. You are not his safe person anymore, and you never will be. Ever. He will never trust you again, even if he has that shell, just works, provide for his family maybe like a good man would. He will never forget that, and maybe never forgive you. Imagine having the love of your life into your inner sanctum, only for them to scream at you, yelling that your interests are dumb, and that individual questions why they forgot with you. That'd break most people. Yep. Damn, I get over this and I get this over and over, and then she just flips a switch after being angry at me and expects me to act like nothing happened. It's brutal, but I keep staying put because I don't want to force my kids to rotate houses and be the cause of that. That's a man. That's a man right there. I feel for these people just staying for the sake of their children, and that is the correct thing to do. I don't recall if this woman said that she had kids, but divorce is rarely the answer. I'm pro-divorce when it comes to like actual hurtful things like abusive households and things like that, when it's not safe for one of the partners, but man, the vast majority of the time, stick around for the kids. You shove a knife into his heart intentionally, and now you want advice. This is what you wanted. You wanted to hurt him so he wouldn't do his hobbies anymore. What you didn't want was to feel bad about it. This is the most accurate thing we have taken a look at today. You shove a knife into his heart intentionally, and now you want advice. Who the hell are you to want advice? You don't want advice. This is completely true. What you want is to not feel bad about it because you just broke a human being with his passions. I have such a conflicting like life issue, internal issue right now because I am very into my faith. I'm Catholic, and I know that we're supposed to forgive people. I know that the punishment...
It has nothing to do with religion. It's just a question of whether or not you want to deal with it. Yeah, it's this Reddit story. It's just a question of whether you want to be able to fucking deal with it, and you want to do the emotional labor. Why does this have bubbles? I don't trust that. Whether or not you want to do the emotional labor to be able to deal with the problems that come with having a partner that doesn't respect you and doesn't want to have an interest in your hobbies and only is willing to apologize in the hopes of maintaining a relationship. If you respect the partner enough, you'd be willing to talk it out with them, but it means that you're now going to have extreme hard boundaries. So you can never be able to have fun with them. You can never take them places. They can never be able to tell you what to do with your fun when you go to such places that they no longer have a right to go with you towards. So, for example, this actually reflects something that happened with stuff in CGG. Star wanted to take basically a audience mom position, and I had to remind her respectfully that it's not her name on the channel. She got upset about it because she was trying to argue agency for another person, but the other person's a grown adult. It's already going to be a hard conversation with another person. There's no reason why I need to have her also telling me things that I'm already discussing and having on my back. Because effectively, she's inserting herself into things that she doesn't need to be involved in. That doesn't mean she doesn't have the right to have her opinion. But it does mean that if I've already talked about the person with the thing, all she's doing is relitigating an issue. I tell her this. I talk to her about it. I tell her that I'm respecting her opinion, but it's not going to be the thing that I'm going to let affect everything. But I do not do so in a way that makes her stop talking and stop wanting to give me her opinion ever. Because there's obviously value in her opinion. You say you're never getting married, but are you never going to have sex? Because to say that she doesn't have a right to ask me how to have an opinion about the shit that I'm doing would be far out of things. Because ironically enough, the amount of things that she's helped with in the background, as well as things she's actively had a hand in discussing with other people on my behalf, has actually outweighed the amount of times that a person could consider someone could be annoying. And because of that, I'm never going to tell her that she can't tell me anything. Period. I won't move you. ultimately, to save you molding, don't just ignore your boyfriends, your husbands, your wives, your interrelational partners, and your fuck buddies when it comes to advice. It can help you litigate more than just your relationships and your businesses.
Isn't on us. But when we see these things, when we see people shoving knives into people's hearts intentionally, why should I ever forgive that person? Why should I ever want the best for that person?
Because Christ calls you to spread good and not evil. Forgiving does not mean forgetting, first off. Then, on a non-religious basis, you wouldn't. You would just not associate with them. And then you would move on in your life and find something better and use that as a barometer of what your new boundary is. I don't like when people put the religion into it.
Why would I not want bad things to happen to these people?
Because that's not Christ-like. If you want people to be harmed and injured, you're not Christ-like.
That's where I really have... I struggle a lot with my own faith. Perhaps that's a whole video in itself that I can make. I want to be better in that sense, but I can't bring myself to do it. I don't even know this girl, and I hate her, and I feel bad for her husband, because we know that with women telling stories, this is not the full thing. If she's admitting to doing that much wrong, I can't imagine what else we're not hearing about. And then I struggle with myself because I'm supposed to just wish the best for her. She'll get it in the end. Like, I don't know. I just feel bad for her husband, man. Do you guys understand where I'm coming from?
Hi, everyone.
And now, one of my favorite content creators, Jesterбell. The real reason Harley Quinn got destroyed. Live Q&A. Hands, a horror film by Jesterбell. Marvel admits defeat. Just listen to this. Race bending characters. Is it wrong?
Before we get
Let's go at race bending.
started, I have a brand new short film that is releasing on this channel very soon. I love this short film. I think it's the best one I've done yet, and I really need your guys' help for feedback for this short film. So if when I drop it, which is going to be before the end of January, I would really appreciate if you would give it a watch. And please, I highly recommend you watch this short film to the end because it's the best one I've done so far. So without further ado, let's get on to the video. One of the big controversial things that's been going on and talked about a lot for years now is race bending characters. And I haven't really thrown my hat in the ring to talk about it yet, other than saying, you know, talking about things like Batman Cape Crusader, that just because you race bend a character does not mean that the show is going to be bad or that it needs to affect anything. But there were a couple, maybe 3 things that I read and that had happened that made me finally want to make this video because something really got under my skin regarding this entire conversation. Now, race bending characters, it's very controversial. Does it ever affect story? Is it wrong to ever race bend a character? We've seen it happen a lot with some very iconic characters lately that they get race bend and it causes a lot of tension and infighting over this. Now, when I was growing up, there were a lot of projects that did have technically race-bent characters that I loved. One of my favorite movies growing up, and what I think might even be the best adaptation of Cinderella ever, was with Brandy and Whitney Houston when they did the Roger and Hammerstein's or Stein's version of it. And that was an insanely successful movie when it aired on TV, and I loved watching it growing up. Also, in my teen years, getting into the Avengers and all that, you had Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, and that is a race-bent version of the character from the comics. But everyone seemed to love Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. I don't remember there being any sort of controversy over it, and so you can...
Not people didn't read the fucking books to know what to be upset about, and the people who did were not going to watch the Marvel film out of justification alone for the satisfaction of denying them their money. So those two worlds never met.
See that in the past there were these times
when race bending a character would not be a big deal. And most people, I think, just assumed you must have gotten the right person for the role and would go from there. But however, I would like to point out, for something like Nick Fury in Avengers, I don't doubt that there was some conversation behind the scenes going on about, you know, the Avengers, the original 6 were 6 white people. Let's get somebody in here who's non-white, somebody like a high caliber actor, so we can maybe get a different sort of audience. Because Hollywood has had that thinking of for decades, that they need to introduce non-white characters to get different demographics to hopefully watch their films. So that was the way it was. It wasn't really seen as a big deal. And I think we just went through a period of time when race bending any sort of character, like it didn't really seem to anger people enough or make that much of a controversy for Hollywood when they did it. For example, you had Jessica Alba as a Latina actress playing Sue Storm, who's a white character. They did make her wear makeup to whiten her face a bit, and that would not fly today. You had, I can't remember the name, but
Michael Clark Duncan.
But he did a race bent version of Kingpin for Ben Affleck's Daredevil. And then you have M. Night Shyamalan decided for whatever reason to get white actors to play the characters in his Avatar movie, which I definitely do not approve of, because you know, you should have gotten Asians to play Asian characters. But anyway, for whatever reason, he got away with it at the time. And so I think that just shows that there was a time in history where race bending was just like, for whoever it was being done to, it was not seen as such a huge deal that it would prevent it from happening in the first place. And this was after a time where decades ago it used to be very difficult for a non-white actor to get a good role. There were very, very limited roles back then, decades ago. And if you go and listen to actors doing interviews, it was very limiting the kinds of roles they were offered if you weren't a white person. So we can see how it's changed over time. But now the race bending of white characters has become super controversial. And why is that? Well, because they've pushed it so hard.
Because they're malicious. Because they're malicious.
And they've pushed it in such a way that it's inherently caused tension. Like, for example, another thing I can say growing up is that there used to be some cartoon characters that occasionally would be race bent, like Liz Allen from Spectacular Spider-Man, that cartoon. In the original comic, she is a Caucasian blonde girl, and they made her a Latina in the cartoon. And I never had a problem with that. I enjoyed that version of Liz Allen, and I never heard anyone who didn't have a problem with that. And why? Well, Liz Allen, that look for the character, it isn't as well known, and so I don't think people notice it as much. Also, there was justification, and once again, they've been trying to diversify and things like that for years now, but there was justification for Liz Allen because she was another white blonde character from Spider-Man. She had the same look as Gwen Stacy, so changing her per race, making her look different, that it just added an actual diversity to the cast, so that every character had their distinct look, different ethnic background, and I think that really worked. Another character that was race bent in a cartoon, X-Men Evolution, Amara, aka Magma. She was a character who was another Caucasian blonde from the comics, but there were already a lot of Caucasian blondes on the New Mutants team that she originated from, and they made her Latina in X-Men Evolution. And once again, probably trying to diversify with that. I thought it worked, though. You know, it was helpful. The characters all have their distinct looks. I actually really liked that version of Amara. So you see, in the past, it can work and not cause controversy. So how did race-bending characters start to become so controversial? For a couple different reasons. Number one, you'll notice when it comes to characters like Magma or Liz Allen, these were characters that weren't very well known. Or I would even say in the case of Nick Fury, it was a combination of, even Nick Fury wasn't that well known. Also, back then, they didn't do race-bending as much. They didn't push it as hard. I don't think that people expected anything other than they probably just got the right actor for the role. But the problem that has happened these days is they have been doing it to more and more iconic characters, like Mary Jane Watson. That is a character who is very, very iconically a redhead, a white redhead. That is an iconic look for the character. It really defines her. So when you did that, when you cast Zendaya as the character and called her Michelle Jones, but she's sort of pseudo MJ, it caused a lot of backlash. And this is what you see when they race bend characters that are more well known. Why? Well, because people have an expectation for the character to look like they do in the source material when it's that iconic. Like, I would say the same thing, and I've talked about this before when it comes to, like, you know, Brandy and Cinderella. I love that movie. I love her take on Cinderella. Cinderella is a story that's been told by every culture, every ethnicity. It really doesn't matter. Fairy tales can be a lot more loose than that. And I would say the same for a lot of the fairy tales from Disney. But, and well, I would say, please, like, no one should attack the actors and actresses over this stuff. I do think that Disney has set up their actors and actresses up to fail when they choose to race bend characters in their live action Disney movies. Why? Well, because, well, you can tell a new story with these characters and these versions, but with the Disney live action remakes, with the people who watch them, they want the whole thing with them is that they're shot for shot remakes of the original. They're supposed to be remakes of the original. So when you set up the expectation that this is Ariel, for example, and they race bend that character, then you start to cause controversy. There is, why doesn't this character look the way she does in the original? And does it matter that much? Well, in this case, when I'm talking about The Little Mermaid, no, it doesn't. There's no reason why someone couldn't play a good version of The Little Mermaid that's a different race. But the problem with it is that here's what happens. You'll get a character like Mary Jane or Ariel or whoever it is. You'll get a character where people have a certain expectation of how they're supposed to look based on how they were from the source. And people might be critical because it doesn't look the way that it does in the source. And that's just fandom, you know? Like, fans want things to look the way they were in the source material. They want events to play out the way they did in the material. We'll have more examples of that in a minute. But, like, that is a part of fandom. When things are iconic from the material, the source material, they want that to be reflected. And here's what I've seen happen over and over and over again in the past decade, is that they will race bend an iconic character, people will get upset by it, and then the response will be like, you're just racist. Like, the only reason why you could possibly dislike this change or find it questionable or just not be really into it is because you're racist. You just cannot stand seeing a black person get a role like this, get a big role like this. And that is the only reason why you don't like it. And so because disliking something like that gets you called a racist, you know, that's a very inflammatory, terrible word to call someone or to be accused of. That invites anger. That invites anger from the people who initially perhaps just wanted a character to look the way they did in the source material, and now all of a sudden they have been called an inflammatory term. That creates anger. That feeds it back to more anger at the person that they cast in the role where it was race bend. Which indeed, I imagine, I don't have to imagine, the people who've been cast in these roles do not like having anger pushed back at them. So that will come back to the way that they communicate with the fan base or the audience, and so on and on and on. It goes on like that, and the tensions rise. Now, once again, before, it wasn't really controversial to race bend characters so much. Now, part of it, once again, is happening because they start doing it to more and more iconic characters. They start doing it more frequently. And the other thing is they grandstand about it so much. Because, once again, I think before people would just assume that if you got a role, it was because you were the right person for that role. But now Hollywood has just grandstanded so much about, look at us, we put non-white characters in this project, we're putting more diversity, more non-white characters, look at us, aren't we good people, aren't people just gonna be so happy to be represented? It's always grandstanding from Hollywood, posturing about how good they are doing this stuff, and the more they've talked about it, the more they've called attention to it, it's made people realize this is not just happening because they happen to find the right person for the role. It's happening because they have institutions behind the scenes that demand this. They're doing this because of agendas, not because they just found the person for the role. And that, once again, blows it up to be much more than just you wanted to see this character look the way it was in the source material. It starts to become about modern day politics. It starts to become about agenda pushing. It starts to become about something so much bigger than that. People are now seeing that these things are not happening just because they found the right person for the role. And that makes you think, you know, know, you could have gotten the right person for the role, maybe, or the person who looks the way you wanted that character to, if they didn't have these institutions, if they weren't posturing about this. And once again, that feeds more tension. That is all that has happened with this stuff, is feeding more tension, to the point where we now see explosions if ever any person is playing a race-bent character, whereas before it didn't used to be such a big deal. Now, I've been of the opinion...
I would argue that the reason why most of that happens is because it is the explicit desire to constantly make it a part of the conversations, because they intentionally bring attention. They intentionally inflammatory... Wrong words entirely. They intentionally create incendiary conversations concerning the actor, concerning the role, concerning the version of what they are choosing to make, whether they are doing so in line with the original vision of the author, whether they're doing so explicitly to piss off the audiences of those that appreciate the author and their original works, invoking death of the author when they do so, being an asshole as they do so, having the conversation in the most obnoxious way possible where you cannot escape it, and then demanding or even implying that you say something or do something, so they can then turn around and use this zeitgeist information cycle on it to antagonize and further harass people. It is ultimately obnoxious, no matter what news cycle and space you do it in. The more that it gets done, the more... I need a stronger word than annoying. Brain-meltingly incendiary it gets. The higher that you build the pressure about conversations about it, the more obvious it becomes that you can't have real conversations and criticisms without there being a deeper issue that would evolve or devolve based on your feel. Okay. The more that it becomes inflammatory and incendiary to create the effect of kicking up dust, industry speaking, to get people to be annoyed about the subject matter, to then add their voices to an already boiling pot, makes it more likely that it becomes a pressure cooker that then explodes the issue out like Blacktober and Whitevember. Blacktober should have just been capable of being about artists drawing characters in their style, in their design, if they wanted to make them black. Technically anything other than non-white. But it could have just been, this is the character in my style. But no, that wasn't fucking enough. It wasn't good enough to just be able to have the conversation. It wasn't good enough just to be able to have the art. They needed to have the art. Damn. They needed to have the art. They needed to control the conversation about the art. They needed to be as annoying as they possibly could be. And then insist, well, why are you guys angry at us? I didn't do anything wrong. And the inability to take accountability made it impossible to escape the conversation.
I would rather send you an arrow than this reply.
No, take your arrow and get your ass pushed in.
I would rather send you an arrow than this reply.
They refused to handle problems on the matter.
Hey, whatever you need.
In a way
It's too big for us. Just name it.
that was consistent and gave them the ability to worry about concerns in a way that would be useful for all people involved. Then the people reacting to them got upset about the fact that they were being reacted to in this way and behaved with in this way. and further incited the issue to the point of exhaustion. And then, so on and so on and so on and so on. Despite none of it being relevant or useful to anyone's focus or design. And then implore that is off the basis of nothing else other than ego. Every time. Just ego. They do this because ego. They do that because ego. They do this because ego. They do that because ego. Nothing but conversations that hurt all of your mind. The more that you have to think about it. Because it doesn't go anywhere other than to a conversation where it must be this, so we will talk about it like this, and we will not treat it consistently in any forward design.
For years that it shouldn't matter that much race bending a character usually if it doesn't affect the story, if they found the right person for the role. Like, once again, Jeffrey Wright playing Commissioner Gordon, he did such a great job at that character, as that character, but some things have made me change my mind a little bit because of the hypocrisy I see. And these are some of the things that made me want to make this video. For example, the other day I was talking about how I do not understand why people want Keke Palmer to play Rogue, not because of her race, but because I just don't see the character.
Because ego.
In her. Maybe she's been in something that I haven't seen where she reminds people of the character. I just don't see it. And the point of me saying that it's not about her race is me saying that if there was an actress that just completely embodied the role and she happened to be a different race, then I could understand it, but I didn't understand this one. And someone under that community post wrote that that race never matters to a white character's story, that it rarely ever is relevant to a white character's story, and that's why it's okay to race bend white characters. Obviously, that's what we're talking about here, because in this day and age, they would never dare to try to race bend or outright race bend a black character. And that got under my skin a little bit because I'm like, but it has happened when it's relevant to the story. Snow White, that was a big one. They had to go in, and they already revealed this in the international trailer, completely change the story to explain a different reason why she's called Snow White, because they had to cast a brown actress to play her, because for a character who's described as skin as white as snow, that's how she's defined as. But Disney in the day and age when this was made just would not have a white lead as this character, so they had to change it.
To honor the day I was born, my father named me Snow White.
And this is an example, a prime example, where they had to change the story because they couldn't cast a white actor for the character. And it got nothing but ridicule. Once again, I don't know what they're thinking about this. It got nothing but ridicule, this decision. Another example they did is the Fantastic Four. Years ago, they cast Michael B. Jordan to play Johnny Storm. And that creates problems because Invisible Woman, they cast as a blonde white woman like she was in the comics, but they're supposed to be biological brother and sister, but they had to change that for Fant Four Stick because they couldn't have 4 white leads. And if you think that this isn't happening, this has been a major conversation stuff happening behind the scenes in Hollywood. That is part of the reason why they had such a hard time casting for the new Fantastic Four, is they're having a hard time with a movie that has 4 white characters as they are in the comics, and they can't have that. They can't have a movie with 4 white leads anymore. But you see, it did change the source material. This does happen when you're changing the source material. For me personally, though, it's like, you know, true diversity in real life is sometimes imbalanced. Like in the 90s, and these are shows I grew up with loving. Family Matters, all black main cast. Fresh Prince, all black main cast. I think sometimes they brought in a white characters like a villain or something. I didn't care. Disney was really patting itself on the back of being like, we hired an all Asian cast for Mulan. And I'm like, yeah, you should have, because Mulan is set in China centuries ago. You know, sometimes you're gonna have it where your cast is disproportionately black or Asian or white, in fact. That's just the way it is. That's what diversity truly looks like. We don't all have perfectly quotas filled out in real life. That's just the way it is. And if you're not a racist, then that shouldn't bother you. That's just the way life is. So it's like there shouldn't be a problem if you just happen to have 4 white leads from Fantastic Four as is accurate to the source material, because there's other stuff like Black Panther that should be a black main cast. Like, that's what true diversity looks like. But, you know, that comment that person made bothered me because it's like, no one would ever say that Blade or Cyborg should ever be a different race. And I would agree, because those are who the characters are. So it's like, for example, with Rogue, yeah, I would, like, I could, like, in the past, I could completely understand. You found the right person for the role. The superficial race is a change, but you found the right person, so it's fine. But I'm like, yeah, I would like Rogue to hopefully be played by a white actress. Why? Because she's been white in the comics for 40 years. Yeah, that because it's accurate to the source material. I would like Cyborg to be black because that's accurate to the source material. In terms of race bending, there has been controversy about colorism, about are they hiring light brown skinned actors to play black characters. There's been some controversy about that, like Sunspot in the various adaptations he's had. He's supposed to be black in the comics, and it's important to his character and his origin for him to be black. And fans of that character have been upset that he's always lighter brown skin in adaptations. And I would agree with them. Why? Because I know what Sunspot is supposed to be in the comics. People want Storm to be cast by a darker skinned black actress. And I'm like, yes, because while Storm in the comics was born in Harlem, she grew up in, I think she moved to Cairo, Egypt. She grew up in Kenya for a time. Like, that should be the characters. Now, from that, I think that it's okay for someone to also say, I would like this character to be white solely because that's the way that they are in the source material. And that's fine, because all this race bending has done is it's caused tension. It's caused hate to the actors that they do it to. It's caused a lot of division and things blowing up out of proportion to become even bigger than just a simple casting in a show. You know, here's the real big crossroads of thinking is, for a long time, I've always been like, you know, if you've just found the right person for a role, then race bending is okay. But the problem is that it only ever goes one way. Like, back in the day when they cast mostly non-Puerto Ricans, in fact, only one Puerto Rican to play a Puerto Rican character in West Side Story, one could also say that the actors did a good job with their roles, but was it still right for them to take roles away from Puerto Ricans? No. And so that's sort of the crossroads I come to with my thinking on this stuff, is that there is a double standards with it. And recently, the latest controversy over race bending came over the upcoming Spider-Man cartoon where Norman and Harry Osborn are black. And all I saw for this was ridicule, not from white people so much, but black people. I just saw so many people on YouTube or Twitter and in these accounts from black people making fun of this because they don't actually want it, and it was a completely unnecessary change. And I watched a video that was actually from a black person, and he said something that really stuck out to me in it, and it was that they keep saying this doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, it doesn't affect the story, so why should it bother you? And he said, if it doesn't matter, then why do it?
And it's insulting because it makes me feel as a black person that you don't see me as legitimate unless I have to have something else that came from a white person.
It would have been nice if you put his name there.
It's annoying. And there's going to be people saying, oh, it doesn't matter. Colin Domingo's a good actor and he's voicing the character. You are 100% right. So if it doesn't matter, why do it?
And that's the whole thing with this race bending, is so many times it's been forced and unnecessary, and people see that, and all it's done is drive up tension. So here is my proposal. How about, if a character is supposed to be black, then cast a black person. If a character is supposed to be white, cast a white person. And that way, you won't have so much tension from groups and all this infighting and arguing, and you don't have to focus so much on people's race all the time. And I think that's where we're headed right now. You can really see how Disney has been affected by this, and the Tangled live-action remake, and I am completely against a Tangled live-action remake, but all of the rumored castings for it has been Sabrina Carpenter or Florence Pugh. So a white blonde woman to play a white blonde woman. Good, fine. I think that Disney has learned from the Snow White movie that it is just ridiculous to force it when it doesn't make sense. And at this point, you know, it is a little crazy because, as I said, race bending used to not be a big deal. You used to get away with it. You used to be able to do it. It used to not be a big deal to see a non-white person play a traditionally white character, but they made it a problem. They made it so that now people see it as forced. They see it as just agenda pushing. They don't see it as natural to the story. They don't assume that the person must have gotten it because they were right for the role. They've spoiled it in effect, because a lot of this stuff that we've been seeing, this activism in media, is just there, and it just spoils the very thing that they're trying to promote. So yeah, that's my stance on race bending characters. I think, once again, you could have gotten away with this once upon a time. I think that there is a big minutia in it, and it just kind of depends on the standards of the day about what is considered morally acceptable or not. But at this point, it would just be best to cast people the way they were from the source material, so you won't have such a fury about it. But that's all I got for you guys today. Are you mad about me? I was nervous about talking about this topic, but I figure my New Year's resolution going forward is to not be so scared of talking about these hot button topics. And the more that we talk about it and are just normal about it, I think the less the people out there who will just scream racist at you will be able to be prominent. But that's all I got for you guys today. What do you think of this video? Yell at me in the comments. Thank you, patrons, as always, for supporting me, even as I'm covering these topics. Once again, new short film coming out soon, and I will see you guys next time.
Wonderful, wonderful. Great takes, as always. I do not want to look at a video about what if. That's it, I've had enough. Caesar Girl.
I think it's a rare moment when we find thankfulness and an epiphany within our exes where we're like, thank you. This is one of those moments. After reading some really harsh comments on one of my videos of me celebrating my 5 years of sobriety at that time in the video, I'm over 7 years now sober.
Good job.
So there was people who said some really cruel things. A lot of things that were just making me think, why is this even necessary to say? Made me realize my past partners, while I don't have many serious relationships, I can say that my past partners, while things were not always perfect, while things were not always good and still aren't, if any of them ever came across this video, thank you for allowing me to be myself in a way where I can have tattoos, I can have piercings, and there was still at that time, sometimes, love or affection or understanding of allowing somebody to be able to be themselves. Thank you for being one of those people in my lives at that time. Thank you to my former partner who gave me some of my tattoos, and we would talk and disclose about why we both had a bunch of tattoos, and we understood each other, and for never making me feel like crap for whatever tattoo I wanted to get. I appreciate that so much. Now, women, I'm going to ask you a question because I'm feeling a very deep way about men on the internet and them feeling like I need to fit into a box for their own personal preference of what they want me to look like sexually so that they can say, yep, check, approval, or nope, I don't want you. Why do you believe that women eventually rebel? Do you have your own personal story on why you rebelled against men and why you decided to do your own thing in whatever way that is? Go ahead, leave a comment if you feel comfortable and let me know why, because I will tell you guys why I rebelled. When I was younger, we would watch a lot of videos, cartoons about Cinderella. There would be a lot of what I would say pre-programming on what a woman is supposed to be like and how women are supposed to be. Now, we cannot perfectly say that everything that we're saying about how women are supposed to be is set into a biological nature, because one thing I have learned is that our brains are literally like, when people say that men are the way they are because of biology. That's actually not true. I took 1/4 of psychology, and while I wish I could have done more, some things happened. And in that quarter of psychology, we were learning about the human brain. And this is a class where they taught us about the male and the female brain. And one thing that came up is there is not very much of a difference, hardly at all, when it comes to the male and female brain. What they have found is that male and female brains are like a mosaic, and that most of them have attributes of male and female patterns. And then, to put this just into perspective, if it was so much male-female brain, then why do we have trans people? Why do we have people attracted to the same sex? Why do we have people that are completely unique and different? And why do we come across some men who just aren't what you wouldn't consider masculine, and some women that you wouldn't consider feminine? Does maybe some of it have to do with the fact that maybe there's more of a hormonal imbalance that is going on there rather than anything with our brain? So, to put that out there real quick, when we are growing up, and men, you were taught a certain way, and women, you were taught a certain way. And for me, I grew up, and many people for a long time did not say nice things about the way that I looked. I was what people would call a late bloomer or an ugly duckling. And when I hit the age 14, 15, some really traumatic things happened. And then I was told a couple times that I was going to be a corn star at 15. And then 16 is when I started to blossom and bloom. I was told at times that I was a butterface. I was told I was a slut. I was a whore. And this was before anything like that was even happening.
Well, not exactly what you would say to a person whose head is shaped like a thumb, but that's a fucked up thing to say to somebody in general.
Kids are vicious. Then I hit about 16, 17. I'll never forget the adult men who were like 30, 40, 50 years old that would hit on me, find me physically attractive, and say some really gross things. I just want to say, I know not all men are like this. I know this isn't for all of you, but when you are being hit on as an underage girl by adult men, it is extremely uncomfortable. And then if you watch my other videos, you will know what I'm talking about. When I was 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, between those ages, 5 years. And this is during the time frame where, again, our brain and the frontal cortex is still developing. I would have men say to me that, oh, wow, you look like you're like 15 or 16, and growl at me and would purposely want to lay with me or be with me because I looked underage. That was very uncomfortable setting, because I was like, it was like I'm fulfilling a fantasy. And this is why I want to address some of you men in this comment, or in this video, and maybe even in the comments if some of you have more things that you need to say, because for some reason, me having tattoos and piercings is like a breaking news thing that needs somebody to comment on. Why do you think that I'm here to somehow be either your sexual fantasy, or I'm trying to sexually appeal to you so you can validate to me that, oh yeah, she looks real good? I don't care. Again.
Bit of an ego stroke there. Just a little bit. You shouldn't care in general. The best way to shut that down is just simply don't care in general. It deflates any boner. Because some men are going to say that to you specifically to get the reaction of you being disgusted. In many ways, anime has been a mistake on society. But probably this one the most of all. The more energy you put into saying you're not their object, you weren't put here on the earth to make them have boners, the more they're going to be on you. Because that's just how they are. Fuck is this? Oh god. They're making another little series, and this one is fucking for Kevin Hart. On BET Plus, fuck me running.
I don't care. I have a boyfriend. I have a partner. I don't need your validation. And why you think that I'm here to validate you in that type of way is so weird to me. One day, I'm going to be dead, 6 feet deep, and so are you. We're either going to be 6 feet deep, or we're going to be in an incinerator, or somewhere else. And none of this is going to matter. But this is why women rebel against men. Since I was 15, 16, I knew that I wanted tattoos. I didn't know to the extent. I knew I didn't want to be completely tattooed, kind of like some people are, and extreme body modifications like some people have, but I knew that I wanted that. And that's okay. Why? My tattoos and my piercings hurt absolutely nobody. I can see, after getting more content and more views, why some famous people and some people on YouTube really start to not like a lot of people and a lot of humanity, because you will see that because people have a screen to hide behind, they feel like they can say everything that they need and want to say. And I've been one of those ignorant people before all this, and I've learned that not everything that I'm thinking in my head needs to be put down onto a comment section. Like, if it doesn't have any value, then why say it? If you have something to say about my tattoos or my piercings, especially my tattoos, what is that going to do? I can't do anything to undo my tattoos. If you think getting tattoo laser surgery is a solution, do you have $1 million? Do you want to go through that pain? Because it's nowhere near getting what a tattoo would be. And I don't want to get rid of my tattoos. They're part of who I am. They're a part of a journey. They're a part of a story. They each have their own meaning, their own valid meaning of whatever it might be. And many of them a meaning towards a life that has led to healing, sobriety, surviving. So I hope some guys understand, like, us women are not always here to validate you like physically and to stimulate you. This is why there have been OnlyFans girls and some women who say that they eventually just decided to do this line of work because guess what? All men wanted to do was bang me anyway. So they felt like, why not just get paid for it?
Okay, so you can't walk this shit back though. Oh, I wanted to open an OnlyFans because all men would ever do is just scroll my feed and want to fuck me. So I guess I might as well just become a thought for free, and then make them pay for it, and then get money for it. Sure, but then don't show up saying, "Why can't I find a man that doesn't want to just be with me because he wants my body?" Kind of goes hand in hand. Take that same argument, apply it across all of society. I want to be, like, all people kept telling me I wanted to be a streamer, so I became a content creator. But now people refuse to associate with me if they're not be able to get something off of my live stream. I wanted to become a person who works in finance, but now people only want to work with me if they can be able to use my knowledge in a way to be able to provide themselves money. It doesn't matter how many times you cycle the problem, you will always end up with the exact same concept and the exact same mindset. And it fucks up every conversation that you could have. No matter what you do. There's no getting away. None. There's no fucking getting away.
Well, that's not the solution, obviously. I can see why they would do that, in a sense, if I was to try to find some neutrality, because who's the majority of consumers on OnlyFans? Men. Who's the majority of consumers on Corn? Men. If you guys would stop consuming all this stuff, then there wouldn't be so many women that are doing this. But with...
I mean, if it wasn't the men that were consuming it, then it'd be the women who were consuming it. There will always be a marketplace. You can't just throw it at the feet of men and say men are responsible for the shit. It's fucked up.
Without consumers, without customers, there isn't going to be as much product. So you guys need to ask you need to ask your own self, why do I keep watching porn?
Because I can't have sex with my woman 24/7. Except I don't watch human shit. Ask every man in this world that question. The ones that don't have a degenerate response, most of it is going to probably be, I don't even watch the porn for the sexual parts. I just want to feel like I want to know what it feels like to be loved. Next one, same thing, but his answer is touched. Same thing, but this time it's a woman who says she wants to be loved. Another one, same thing. Another one is going to be saying that she wants to be touched. You don't believe me? I got something to show you after the video's done. The simple fact of the matter is that porn's not the problem anymore. It's human disconnection. If women stopped using justifications to tie themselves away from people and actually started talking to people, where's that fucking post? It will take too long to find. There's a woman that went onto Twitter to go roast a guy and what he looked like, but the woman herself looks like a thumb, and both of them look like their brother and sister. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you did not have people that when they see something like that, they instead swiped right and actually tried to talk to them, instead of going to the internet and say, oh my god, what a guy, what a loser, huh? You wouldn't have these problems. But we do, because people are mean.
Why do I keep paying for OnlyFans? Why do I do this? If you are one of those guys. And then if you are, then maybe you need to be asking yourself, if you're leaving comments in the comments section, she's a 304, she's this and that. How can you be so hypocritical? It's no wonder why so many men, whether single, married, in a relationship, why so many men who were just on that Lily Phillips thing and the other girls thing.
Do not compare me to men that were getting sex from Lily Phillips and the other woman. I am not them. We are not them. We are Americans. We are not Brit-bongers. We have standards.
As well, want to cover their face, want to hide the fact that they're watching porn, want to hide the fact that they're paying for people on OnlyFans, want to hide certain things, is because obviously you guys see something is wrong with it, and then you turn around and you bash women for it, but you guys are the ones who are fucking watching it. You guys are the reason why it's so huge. If men can't come to that conclusion that maybe men are the problem here and that men need to have more self-control, then it's not going to get anywhere. Until men can admit that and say, I need more self-control and I need to teach more men self-control, there's always going to continue to be product. And there's always going to continue to be women being that product. Why? Because men have shown us time and time again for many years that that's what a lot of you men want us to be.
Here's an idea. If there were women that were not like you, that had opinions, not like yours, that were more focused on how they help themselves rather than how they bash others, there would likely be an uptick in positive outcomes. Because if you believe that every man just wants his woman to be a porn star, I don't know how to help you. Because now, let's take it a step further. You only want me to be your porn star. You don't want me to be the mother of your children and the person who you trust to be responsible with the finances of the house and home and build a life with. The only thing you see me as is a piece of meat. If you wake up in the morning and you roll over and you look them in the eyes and you say that with actual veracity in your heart, I don't know how to fucking help you, dude. Hello, Blueprint. I don't know how to fucking help you, dude. I don't. I don't know how to help that. What that is clearly fucking delusion and crazy, but I don't know how to help that. it's beyond not useful. It's a level far beyond just not being useful.
A lot of you want us to be your sexual fantasy. And if we're not that,
I would love nothing more. Hello, Chad. I would love nothing more than for my woman to continue to be said fantasy. Cause yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. Why would I not want that?
then we're nothing else. So, coming from a woman's perspective, this is how I feel. Feel free to leave your comments. Feel free to say whatever you say. If it gets to the point of verbal abuse, I am going to hide you from my channel and I'm not going to have it on there anymore.
Damn, that's crazy. You care so much about people's opinions, but you're hiding their opinions if they disagree with you? Damn, that's crazy. Ain't that crazy, Chad? That's crazy. So crazy.
More. Thank you for watching if you got all the way through. I hope something came out of this. Definitely what came out of it for me is a new profound respect for my exes that I never thought I would have.
Because they taught you the lesson that they only liked you for your body? I don't think that's a useful lesson. It's also a very sad lesson to ask yourself. They only like me because they can fuck me. Do you want to go for the full way with that thought? Because we could go the full way with that thought. It goes to a very sad place. If they only liked you for your body, what were you doing in the meanwhile? How are they having you in the meanwhile? Come on, Chad. I guess that works. A little bit egotistical, a little bit fucked up, or a little shit. And more than crazy. Another missile has hit the Destiny compound. He has made his return to streaming. He can't get into it because of litigation.
For the juicy...
As well as Hassan covering him. Why is it always fucking cut into pieces? Why don't any of these people upload it? They all have fucking check marks. This shit is goddamn useless. Fucking Christ. Okay, 1 second. Destiny returns to the camera.
For the juicy stuff, this is what I will say. I'm glad that I've inspired so many people to go the litigation route. However, unfortunately, that severely restricts what would be wise for me or what I am capable of saying publicly about anything. I do look forward to the continuation of and ideally the resolution of that process, hopefully sooner rather than later. But I think my two legal teams now are probably going to hate me for saying anything at all. So I can't really say much insofar as that goes, unfortunately. For the juicy stuff, this is what I will say. I'm glad that I've inspired so many people to go the litigation route. However, unfortunately, that severely...
Talks about two things. Most important, not being able to defend the sharing of explicit images without consent, and communities preying on his downfall.
Well, I'll say the most important thing, okay? Regardless of what you've heard online, or regardless of your desire to simp for me, or shit on me, or simp for anybody else or whatever, obviously, taking any things or sharing any things non-consensually is never good. Don't ever do that. Don't defend that. Don't be that guy. I only say that because I saw some people were typing shit over the past week who were like, oh, like, this doesn't matter. Who cares even if this did happen or whatever. That's not cool, okay? So, number one, don't be that guy, okay? Number one, who's defending anything like that, okay? Don't do that. Number one. Number two, there are a lot of communities that are preying on my downfall, okay? Because all of this is now super public, but because it's also coupled with litigation or threats of litigation, it kind of restricts the public movements that I can make.
As a message for those who want to leave this community, always welcome to do what you wish. I just want to do politics.
Canceled my membership to make moral arguments while living your personal life the way you do. I can't justify supporting you. Disappointing. Hey, listen. If you want to leave, or if you're upset about whatever you think has happened or whatever you've heard, you're always welcome to do what you wish. I just want to do politics here. That's how I felt for the past year, at least. Whatever happens in the background where all of this stuff is going through. But, you know, hey, listen. That's all I can say right now. Sorry.
Chatter asked about the Kyla Bridge.
Anything about the Erudite Bridge before we move on to politics? So I don't want to say anything about any individual for a variety of reasons. I'll just say I will give them the flexibility to say or do what they want or maneuver how they want. Yeah. Is your GF aware of all the allegations made against you? No, anytime she opens her phone, I just swat it out of her hand and then I throw one of those little like cat toys into the corner of the room and she usually runs and chases it.
Hey Destiny, you know how you're in hot water and potentially facing the death of your online ability to shitpost and yell at video games and not have to actually work a real job? You know what you should probably not put in your content? A mention where the people make jokes about your significant others or the lack thereof. You should definitely not joke in the situation and take shit seriously. Like, I don't know, you're trying to win a presidency.
Or have heard people talk about me. Don't.
Destiny talks about separating art from artist.
Regardless of whatever you think I've done or have heard people talk about me, don't like assume. Let's assume. Hold on, let me be very careful here. Even assuming if I did do the worst things possible and you still wanted to watch my content, in your mind, the process should be like a separate the art from the artist, or it should be a man, he fucked up really bad, if those things were true that have been said publicly. But don't ever lock yourself in the trap of the person that I like did a thing, so now I'm going to justify the thing. Those are the only comments that I saw in my community that were worrisome to me. All the other shit from all the other vultures and all the other communities that are like coming in trying to like make drama out of this, that don't give a fuck about any victims or any people involved, which is the majority of people. They don't care about that, but just yeah, just make sure that don't ever fall into that trap. Regardless of whatever you think I've done or have heard people talk about me, don't like assume. Let's assume. Hold on, let me be very careful here. Even assuming if I did do the worst things possible and you still wanted to watch my content.
Okay, that's looping. Destiny defends Hassan's brothel allegations and appears to be over the shit singing within communities.
A girl at a brothel. Hassan Grapes, a girl at a brothel that was charged for having trafficked minors, but somehow Destiny's the worst person Tom ever associated with. Can't make this crap up. So I don't think Hassan raped anybody. I don't think that's true. We don't have to do that. We don't have to sync to that here. I am more interested in political stuff than just shit flinging with people. But again, if you're gonna support me by supporting what we do best, not by becoming the worst of the worst, which is every other community that we fight with. Okay. Hassan Grapes, a girl at a brothel that was charged for having trafficked minors, but somehow Destiny's the worst person Tom ever associated with. Can't make this crap up. So I don't think Hassan raped anybody. I don't think that's true. We don't have to do that.
And Destiny answers if he's in his fortress arc.
Are we in the fortress arc now? No, I'm never in the fortress arc. Fuck that.
We're never in a fortress arc. Fuck that. Bold. Bold strategies. Bold willingness. Bold. I wonder how this is going to work out for now. Because I don't see him fixing anything that he's dealing with. You know what's bugging him because he's speaking slowly. He's always done that whenever he's dealing with questions from chat. But the problem is that it's a little bit more than that. Denims is now the fourth woman to come forward to accuse Destiny of illegally recording her without her consent. False. Denims wants attention. She sees that this shit's happening. She's saying me too. So let's look at this. Because this is actually being posted by Nathan. Okay. So, Lance pushes that Denims claims she has been sexually recorded by Destiny. This is not true because Destiny does not fuck Hassan orbiters. We know that to be true. He claims that when she refused to have sex, that he weaponized the illegal voice recordings to smear her. This is obviously a fucking lie, because why would he need to lie about it? He just fucking openly say something like this. His son, Nathan, comes up and says, "Me too," geek emoji. Person randomly replies. To be fair, there's probably a lot of people who think people, your father, your father recorded without consent and also made threats against Nathan. Be a better man than your father. This is like spice. At best, something like this is spice. This doesn't really amount to anything, but it's spice. Nathan doesn't need to follow track with what Destiny's already done. He's already got himself a permanent ban off of fucking Twitch, so if he wanted to make a streaming career, he could. Continuing in my sentence, Nathan has already gotten banned permanently off of Twitch for his little school shooter-esque stunt that he pulled, where he hit Destiny with what I am pretty sure was a Nerf gun, but framed it as though he was going into the classroom like, no one's gonna be done after this, click click. So, for someone like Nathan, this is a game to him. But for obviously his father, and then later on, when he wants to be more serious about anything, should he choose to want to do a streaming career, he's not going to have the ability to do so because of this bullshit. So, overall, it's pretty much seemingly a nothing burger for the most part. Most shit that he will want to be able to solve, he can't solve. Most of the things he wants to be able to claim to fix, he can't be able to claim to fix. Mostly because nobody wants to take anything serious. What do I have to put this into? Doesn't have a bottle size. It's a single dose flavor. So I guess one bottle will do. I'm gonna bust. Meanwhile, Mr. Stream Through It finally has returned to stream, but is definitely behaving like he's in a Fortress arc. So, the Destiny Bastion has launched. Now it's just a matter of seeing what happens next. Where are my fucking cuticle scissors? All the times you need it, and I don't have it now. fucking cut line was above the line of separation. That's fucking shit. Cocky goodness. And then the second thing about this, Hassan says this is not the end of Destiny. He has always been this way. Second clip, further above that one.
A lot of people think like, oh, this is the end of Destiny or whatever. Like, I don't think so. I think that he has in many respects always been this way. Okay. Like he's been this way for quite some time, and his core fan base, his core fan base, I think, don't really care. They treat everything as like drama. But there are definitely people that are in the edges that previously might have been a part of his like core fan base that think like this is unacceptable. But ultimately, I think as long as you stay the course and you know, don't admit to anything and continue doing whatever you're doing, or even if you admit to shit like Dr. Disrespect did, like there's no real quote unquote cancellation. I mean, people will use this against him forever in arguments, especially because like his content revolves around not playing video games by himself, or maybe sometimes collaborating with others, but instead directly like engaging people in the marketplace of ideas. So everyone is always going to be like, hey, remember when you did that thing and it was fucking insane? So it'll aesthetically and optically look bad for him, and will be a major point that he has to always address. But outside of that, I think that he will, like, his fan base is not going to move away from him. I feel like the approach they have, because it literally is cultish, the approach they have for the most part, like the mega fans, is that this man is too valuable of a voice for brilliant liberalism, and you know, we can't just like cast him aside. After all, the Republicans also operate in a cult like the Republicans also operate like a cult like fashion, and we should do that as well. We shouldn't just like tarnish our heroes so easily. And what's
so fucking stupid. What a fucking stupid take to say. Finish your fucking thoughts.
Additionally hilarious about that is that like they're still operating within the confines that he has set for them, and their understanding of the world is so deeply polluted by Epstein's way of approaching subjects that he is like
Epstein. Now he is Jeffrey Epstein.
Like created this persona where they truly do believe he's brilliant, right?
And it's certainly not your audience, Hassan. Your audience thinks that you're a completely down-to-earth, normal guy. Just a normal guy streaming from inside of a place where they have not even close to nearly even 1/4 the GDP necessary to buy your fucking house. Just couldn't happen to a worse guy. Okay. So, if Destiny's always been this way, and you used to live in a house with him, and you used to be his roommate before you backstabbed him, why did you never reveal anything back then? Why did you never... Why did you never speak up? Why did you never say anything? Why did you never do anything? Why did you never communicate anything? Why did you never expose anything? Because it didn't benefit you at the time? It's garbage. It's useless. Beyond fucking useless. Nothing burger. Nothing burger. Nothing burger. Another video from the Seizure Girl. What sex trafficking looks like from someone who's lived it. No, thank you. Sexuality, talking about girls.
Hi everyone, my name is Sabrina and I'm back and I'm ready to talk about something interesting. After watching Arcane, this is an animated series on Netflix, I got this feeling that I want to talk about how I see women and in general about my sexuality. So I am bisexual and I'm pretty open about my sexuality. I'm not like hiding this.
134 subscriber channel, by the way. Not like the number matters.
But I'm not screaming, I don't know, in my social medias, or I will like, hello, my name is Sabrina, I'm bisexual, I'm not doing this. But in general, if someone will ask, or I'm explaining about something in context of a relationship, I can say like, not like boyfriend, but partner, right, in order for me and the people that I'm speaking with, right, to understand that I have like not one option but two. In order for you to talk about sexuality, right, you need to have a really close relationship with someone because you need to feel safe when you're speaking with some sort of people, like friends, family, and whatever, and you need to be sure that they will not judge or something like this. I wasn't ready to talk with my other friends about this, so I decided to record this video, and in the future I will more than able to speak with them, and I'm like preparing myself to this because I want to be open with my friends. I'm so nervous and I'm so excited to record this video because this topic and in general the sexuality, right, it's something really important nowadays, and especially important how people that you have in your life are accepting this. Because in my case, I remember how I started to realize that I'm like girls, and actually there was like a funny stories, I would say, because I started to realize that I like girls approximately like middle school and high school. But when I was in middle school, I didn't know, well, probably I knew that we have like gays and lesbians, right? But I wouldn't say I would consider myself as a bisexual or as a lesbian girl because I had like boyfriend for 2 weeks. Yep. And in general I was like more focused on boys when I was like in the middle school, and probably I would say that society put this label on me that I like boys. But in the middle school I already thought that, oh my god, I like this girl. Like I'm watching, I don't know, some kind of movie and I'm like, oh my god, she's so pretty, she's so beautiful. Or I saw someone outside, like when I like hang out with my friends or whatever, and I was like, oh my god, she's so beautiful. But I was so confused. I was like, that's weird, okay, anyways. And when I started to listen to K-pop, then I realized something's going on in my brain. Something's going on because I'm just like, oh, what's happening? I'm like started to speaking with different people, right? I have a new friend group, and there was like girls, and I was like, oh my god, what's happening? I mean, I feel something towards some girls, right? And is this like a friendship, or it's something more, or it's like I'm really attractive to them? I remember I had one friend back at that time, and there was a party, and we kissed on the couch, on the bed. Cool. I was so excited about that. We had, all everything that we need, right? Passion. connection, everything. And the funniest thing that I can say about this, that someone interrupt us in that moment, that they're like, make out in the bath, you know, interrupt us. Oh my god, for what? But anyway, and after this party, I remember I just lay on my bed and I just started to think, what's happening, Sabrina? I mean, you have these feelings and you're not sure what its feeling is, right? What's happening? Because back then there were like girls kissing girls, nothing important, right? You were not taking this seriously, we were just like girls, like best friends forever. But
how old is this woman? 6 videos through life. You joined July 22nd, 2016. You're clearly mid-20s. You have an accent. You were born in 91. You were either born in 91 or 87. So, just casually what happens when Europeans experiment, I guess.
I took it really seriously because I was super confused because I liked her. Like, I saw her and I was like, oh, she's cool and she's kind of pretty, and she is pretty. She's not kinda, she is pretty, and I like feeling something. And I remember I just laid in my bed, and I believe this is a canon event in queer people life, right? In gay people life, when you're opening your laptop or your phone and you're searching for quiz if you're gay. I remember I did that, and the answer was definitely I'm not straight. I don't remember it was like a bisexual or lesbian, but definitely not straight. After that moment, I believe I started to consider myself as a bisexual woman, right, as a bisexual girl back then. There was actually a pretty long way to understand who I am and what I actually like, because as I mentioned before, the society, they putting on us those labels, and because of the people that you have in your life, you're not fully able to recognize what you like and what you don't like. And I'm grateful for, I don't know, for my friends that I had back then for K-pop. It showed me, it helped me, because K-pop community, it's toxic a little bit, but still this community is really open about LGBT plus opportunities, LGBT plus community, right? They are there and they openly talking about this, and it helped me to open myself a little bit more about this. I don't see the reason to hide this. If someone will throw me a homophobic thing, I like I will fight with you if you will not stop talking bullshit. I'm really grateful for my mom, because after this party, after I realized that I'm bisexual, I like girls, I remember talking to her. This is funny because I said this as a joke, because, you know, I have this trauma. When you want to talk about something serious, you started to joking because you have mental problems. And I talked about those events on the party, and I was like, oh mom, you know, I kissed like with a girl and I kind of like it. And I was like, mom, what you will do if I will tell you that I like girls? In a joke way. But she seriously told me, it's okay, Sabrina, I actually don't care who you like, right? The most important thing that you will be happy. And I'm like, oh my God. And from that moment, I'm really open with my mother about this, about my in general in sexual life, right? With boys, girls, like it doesn't matter, because she showed me that she can be trusted. Honestly, so disappointed in parents who are a piece of shit. I'm sorry, those parents who are not supporting their child.
the honest, regular thought processes of the regular watcher of Arcane. There's a less than 10% chance that I run into this person in a match of League. Consider this. This is the bedroom this is the bedroom feminism that Riot Games foretold. I hate it. It feels so vapid. I'm not talking about her life experience. I'm talking about the self-analyses that she's trying to apply it to in the meta sense. This is the shit that I want to see in my feed. This is the shit I get in my feed. How wonderful. Let's see the reason why Evan Gold went viral this time.
There's been a lot of people that have been very unhappy about this thing that I said. So a lot of people, how popular is this tweet? 5 million views. And actually not really that big of a deal. Guys, we can't install ramps and elevators for disabled people because it makes the Ratman feel disenfranchised. So let's go ahead, let's watch what I said about this in the clip, okay? It's the double standard. And I'm sorry, but I'm never going to vote for a person who's going to categorically put me at a disadvantage. Like, any time that somebody is providing advantages to an identity group that I don't belong to, I will never support that. I will never support somebody that will put me at a disadvantage because of immutable characteristics. I'm getting hate for this. Keep this in mind. I'm getting hate for saying that I don't like discrimination. I think I should be treated fairly, the same as everybody else is. You like the tweet? Of course. If somebody says that I shouldn't be treated fairly and I should be put at a disadvantage, then I'm going to vote against them. And you can say that it's not fair or whatever. Never. So we have that being a minority or being a woman is like being disabled. It's crazy. And the thing is that, you know, when you talk about the horseshoe theory, oh man, these are really close. I have this radical idea that people should be treated fairly and equally. And apparently, for some people, that's very upsetting. Those are the people that radicalized others, not Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate. You bring up a really good point. Comments like this, when an average, just like random guy sees that people want to uphold a standard that puts him at a systematic disadvantage because of his skin color or his gender or his sexuality, he's going to be radicalized against those people, as he should be. You don't preface or contextualize all your comments. If you have to preface and contextualize every single thing that you say in case some intellectually dishonest, emotionally unstable retard on Twitter that has all of their mental illnesses broadcast like personality traits on their bio is going to take it out of context and get mad at you for a reason that you didn't even intend, then
they got community noted. Saying comments like you're taking them out of context. I'm sorry, but not once has gaining more context and less than gold ever been benefit to the view of his intelligence or his opinions.
Then, I mean, fuck. Like, that would be boring. Like, imagine how long it's going to take to have any conversation about that. It'd be exhausting. So, no, we're not going to walk on eggshells around retards. And if they cry, we're going to use them for content. As far as I look, last time I checked, things are going really well. Fuck them.
So, business as usual. Arcane and the character assassination of Victor.
When you're going to change the world, don't ask for permission.
Can you hear me say your name forever? Can you see me longing for you forever, forever? Would you let me touch your soul forever? Can you feel me longing for you forever, forever? We dance once more.
awesome, sir. The music video is very nice. Please get into the talking.
Scientist in League of Legends. I'm a League of Legends player. I'm a League of Legends.
Looks like a lady! What a statement. I look like a League of Legends player. Shot cut to the face. Yeah? Yeah?
Legends player. You failed! And something I've been grappling with recently is the characterization of Victor in Arcane. Everybody and their mother is talking about how Victor's new character design just doesn't make sense in League of Legends, and they're right. While I do enjoy the whole Zonite Jesus thing they went with as a concept, it just doesn't fit Victor. Victor was, first and foremost, a scientist and inventor. But in Season 2, Victor stops inventing altogether. In this video, I'm going to explain to you why the shift in Victor's character from the Machine Herald to the Arcane Herald and the change in Hextech is not only bad for the story of Arcane, but it outright ruins a massive portion of Runeterra's lore by ignoring the essential character and world building that made the League of Legends lore so interesting in the first place. I want to introduce Victor and his lore as he was known to League players for over a decade, as the Machine Herald. Victor was born in Zon and was always a curious inventor. In Victor's old League lore, we know that he built inventions that minimized harm in dangerous workplaces that were common in Zon's industrial society, mainly a chemforge. Victor's inventions would increase the automation of the chemforge, which would decrease the amount of human casualties. Eventually, his inventions caught the eye of Piltover, specifically the Academy of Techmaturgy, which invited him to come study. In the original League of Legends lore, Victor and Jace were not close, which obviously has been retconned, likely because it makes for a far more interesting story when Victor and Jace do have a bond. The dynamic between the two is one of the main reasons why they remain the most interesting characters in Arcane, despite the lackluster direction the writers took with both of their characters. There are many other things that were retconned in Victor's story when Arcane Season 1 came out, which is mainly for the better. One of those things taken out was Professor Stanwyck, who was originally the person that sought out Victor because of his inventions. The only mention of Stanwyck in Arcane is by Heimerdinger in Episode 4, Season 1, when he mentions him as one of the founding members of Piltover. After this point is where Victor's League story and Arcane story pretty much changed completely, which is fine at first, but it leaves a bunch of holes not only in his story but the broader story of Piltover and Zon. Originally, Victor goes back down to Zon due to a chemical spill, and it inspires him to return to his home to help the people in need. During this time, he creates Blitzcrank, a robot designed to assist the people of Zon in cleaning up the chemical spill. During his time building Blitzcrank, Victor learned a lot about human anatomy because Blitzcrank was a humanoid robot, although his proportions are not very human-like. When he returned to Piltover, he found that Professor Stanwyck had stolen his idea for Blitzcrank and presented it as his own, so, fed up with Piltover and its treatment of Zonites, he went back to Zon to help his community. But the more Victor tried to help people, the more he came to realize that no matter what he tried to do, there would always be humans and their silly mistakes to get in the way. Victor would slowly try to remove pieces of his own humanity because, as he saw it, it was getting in the way of progress. During this time, Victor would help people by building them cybernetic enhancements, and in doing so, he genuinely improved the lives of others, so much so that he got his own cult-like following. Sound familiar? People's injuries and deformities would come from chemical spills, at least originally in the lore of Zon, and Victor would figure out ways to help these people through his inventions. Eventually, he became obsessed with the idea of a glorious evolution, where he would remove everyone's humanity to create a perfect world where nobody got hurt. It got to the point where he would experiment on innocent people and unwillingly remove what he had deemed as their humanity in order to achieve his glorious evolution. I want to start this section off with what I do enjoy about Victor's new design. Fortiche, the animation studio behind Arcane, does an excellent job at the body horror design of Victor. The mask that replaces his face is an awesome metaphor for how the Arcane is replacing his humanity. Also, the addition of the Hexclaw in his design, while many have fairly criticized it, I think it's a good addition to Victor's design with missed potential. It's shown that when the Hex Core evolves you, it takes a small portion of your individuality into account. It's very likely that the Hex Core, when evolving Victor, took into account one of his inventions, that being the Hex Claw. Many people acted like the claw came out of nowhere when in reality it was set up in Season 1, but it would have been so much better if we saw Victor routinely using his Hex Claw for his research, or just for quality of life improvements. But he doesn't, which is a genuine issue. I also believe that the Hex Claw is not used to its full potential in combat during fight scenes with Victor. If you look at how Fortiche animated Elise in the new cinematic, she uses all of her legs for combat, and the same cannot be said for Victor. Also, Victor carries a staff that is clearly a spellcasting focus, so why does he actually need the arm? And while I think the arm is cool, I cannot come up with a good answer to that question. If the third arm truly was the evolution Victor saw for everyone, then his mannequins would also have them, which they don't. My issue with the big change between old and new Victor is that there is a stark contrast between the character archetype used to be and the one he is now. In Dungeons & Dragons, there...
So that's not a problem with the character design, that's a problem with the character's lore background. And then the character's design getting in its way has less to do with the character as it was written and the character that they are utilizing currently, which are two different things. It might seem like it's not, but it is. So, for years, the basic historical issue with League of Legends and its never-ending lore is that you have characters coming from places that didn't exist, that are then retconned into existence to justify the characters returning to some level of focus. The obvious problem with this is that you have characters that have no function. And in terms of focus on the story, effectively, this is dead hand, that effectively have no real evidence on the plot because this character that comes from Zon no longer has the motivation to be the character that he is, and it's now a disconnect between his character design and his motivation, as well as his lore, as well as anything that justifies the purposes of the character design and the character mindset moving forward. Example, the fucking Desert Kingdom that Montero comes from, which, and by that I mean Cassante. Desert Kingdom, never before described, never before designed, only one character comes from the zone right now. He's a character whose entire game philosophy plays counterpose to the most efficient way that he's meant to be played and used. And because of that, his entire design is unfocused, and all of it is justified, rather than the version that should be quintessential, instead being the version that they pushed onto people for the purposes of making it popular. We discussed this on the Game Awards, when it was brought up about League, that it is actually relevant that people were getting back into the game, or were getting into the game completely fresh and new, because of the game. By that, I mean because of the game featuring Fortiche's art and their animation from Arcane. And now those people have either left entirely, or it has stagnated. It's a fucking mess. People are complaining about Mel. Separate issue. There are people that are purists of the design of Victor, and those that do not want the design that has been introduced because of the popularity of Arcane. The two things are two different characters, they're two different people. So, instead of there being old Victor and new Victor, it's just Victor. And this Victor is not the Victor that should exist, let alone the Victor that was actually sold on the game's original release. And by having it framed as a GUI, you get to keep the playstyle, but ultimately, it remains the same. Boring as fuck. And useless as fuck. Fuck.
There are so many caster classes, sorcerer, wizard, druid, etc. And each class has their own caster is clearly a spellcasting focus. So why does he actually need the arm? And while I think the arm is cool, I cannot come up with a good answer to that question.
Ultimately, he has a spellcast focus because he's always had a staff. The staff is from which he casts the spells of his kit. His laser, his transmogrifier shield, the cast for his gravitational field, and then finally, the ultimate cast from the arm, his tech storm. The problem is that with the fall away of the character design, the staff had no purpose except for being an ornament. So it's like saying, why would a person who can cast spells directly from their hands need to have a wand in which to use as a spell focus when they've never needed to have a wand? My god, my diet.
If the third arm truly was the evolution Victor saw for everyone, then his mannequins would also have them, which they don't. My issue with the big change between old and new Victor is that there is a stark contrast between the character archetype used to be and the one he is now. In Dungeons & Dragons, there are so many caster classes, sorcerer, wizard, druid, etc. And each class has their own flavor. One of these classes is a caster that, instead of reading spells from books like a wizard or being born with them innately like a sorcerer, uses technology to produce the same results. I'm of course talking about the artificer class here. And while some people say, who cares, Victor's kit is the same, for many it's not about the actual gameplay but the fantasy that it provides. Victor was an artificer archetype, and simply put, he no longer is that. He no longer provides that fantasy. He didn't tinker on his body to create the new limbs that service him. The Hex Core gave it to him. He didn't build a Hextech staff. It was given to him. Victor's power comes from the Hex Core, and to me it seems like Arcane is saying that without the Hex Core, Victor wouldn't be able to create his glorious evolution, which downplays the genius of Victor. Imagine if Dungeons & Dragons just decided to remove the Artificer class, but then added a new Wizard subclass that only kind of added that same fantasy. People would be pissed. Arcane completely removed the biomechanical engineering that made Victor so special, and that is a huge blunder. The unfortunate part is that Victor's new character model still has a small portion of the essence of that biomechanical engineering that made him so appealing to people. But the design looks more magical than scientific. He shows almost no biomechanical elements and instead just shows magic slightly influenced by the aesthetics of Piltover. He goes from looking like a cyborg, albeit a silly one due to the aged model, to looking more like an alien wizard, which is cool in concept, but as many have said before, that is essentially just Malzahar. The individuality that Victor has, the claw, the gold accents, the apparent screws in his body, are just remnants of his former self and don't actually serve the new Victor. It is, to put it simply, all over the place. And when the Void finally comes into play, eventually, I think the broader audience of Arcane might think that Malzahar, should he be introduced, will draw parallels to Victor and realize that one might be too similar to the other. And then when the writers get to that bridge, they might realize they've created a problem too big to sweep under the rug. And there's so many holes left in Victor's story that might never be answered, especially considering the fact that there are holes in the old lore that were never solved before Arcane became canon. One of the biggest problems with how Victor's story was handled directly correlates to how Arcane, the show, presents the Arcane. There is a lot of stuff happening here, but let me try and present the issues I have with how the Hextech and Hexcore are represented. If you didn't know, the old lore for Hextech was that they were crystals harvested from the corpses of a species called the Brackern. There was a Brackern...
Bro, you're getting into the lore that's not just ruining his character, but several other characters. Let's keep going.
Genocide, which led to every single Bracker being dead except one, named Skarner. Now what makes this lore really fucked up is the souls of the Brackern were trapped inside of these crystals, and Hextech, a technology that used the hex crystals as a source of energy, was essential to Piltover and its culture. Now, I'll say it bluntly, this lore sucked. And it sucked even more when a specific singing champion was released that only further destroyed...
There you go, tie it all together.
...destroyed the lore, but I'll save all the horrible things I have to say about Seraphine. It's a whole other rabbit hole. But even though the origin of Hextech was bad, the overall aesthetic of it was a good thing. I try not to let my expectations of the previous League canon get the better of me, but when Arcane is canon to the League lore and it changes everything, I can't ignore it. Here are a couple of the champions that use Hextech. Vi, Caitlyn, Jace, Victor, Heimerdinger, Jhin, Jinx, Echo. There's a lot of J's. Oh my god. Vi, Caitlyn, Jace, Victor, Heimerdinger, Jhin, Jinx, Echo, Seraphine, and Camille. Additionally, Blitzcrank and Orianna are artificial beings who not only use Hextech, they are Hextech. Now, what I really hate about the new Hextech is the organic aesthetics of the supposed Hextech evolution. So it implies that the Hex core was mixed with organic material. In this case, it's Victor's blood, and then it becomes something organic. My issue with this organic form of magic is that it already exists in Runeterra, whether it be from naturally born mages or the Void. It doesn't matter where Victor draws his magic from if the aesthetics are almost exactly the same as all other magic. That completely removes that tech from Hextech. The reason Arcane Season 1 was so great and why, in my opinion, Season 2 is a bit lackluster is because the writers were so focused on using the characters as drivers to tell a good story. Which is fine. There are some beautifully written character moments in Season 2 of Arcane, but they sacrificed essential parts of the consistency of the world and characters to show off these moments. Additionally, I very much dislike the time travel aspect that was added at the end of episode 9. If Victor was the old wizard that gave Jace the rune, why would he even do this? And if this is a time-traveling Victor, then why would he instill the desire to create magic into Jace in the first place? I don't understand why Victor, who no longer has any feelings because he removed his humanity, would go back to save Jace. The only answer I could find online that semi-satisfied me was on a Reddit post from user Neotnik SMDR. They said, I think there's a theory that Jace was transported to the end of the timeline in episode 7, an alternate universe where it was implied that Powder used the crystals she found in Jace's office to make some alternate Hextech after Echo came back to the main universe. They go on saying, I also think this has something to do with how Ascended Victor said, in every universe, only you being Jace, can show me this. Basically, no matter if Jace died or lived, Victor always found Hextech, and he was always going to use it to evolve. And the only timelines where anyone succeeded in stopping him was where Jace did it. But this creates a larger issue I have with Arcane, which is time travel is a convoluted plot device that simply wasn't used well in this story. What I enjoy—
Because it was used to glaze the relationship between a black man and his snow bunny. I agree.
What about Season 1 of Arcane is that it felt very contained in Piltover and Zaun, and with Season 2, it became something larger than life. Humanity, as we know it, was on the verge of extinction, and I just find those stakes too large to be convincing, especially with the lack of setup given. I feel like if the show had more time to tell the story that the writers clearly wanted to, it could have been so much better. That being said, I think the story they were trying to tell is far less compelling than the story they could have told. Because Arcane is canon to the entire universe, that now means that there's a very good chance that Piltover will stop making Hextech altogether. Which then I ask the question, what is next for Piltover? By making this law of nature that all Hextech usage creates this uncontrollable reaction in the form of wild runes, then Piltover will likely rule it to be too dangerous to use, and Hextech will not be developed further than what we see in Arcane. I don't know how to describe how large of a fumble this could be for the entire lore of Runeterra. This would create problems for the lore of so many characters. I will say that I do like the change to Jace's story, that he is the person who discovered Hextech, which was a retcon of how Hextech originally was brought to Piltovan society. This is fine. Better than fine, actually. I think it was a good change, especially when you're introducing a new idea to a new audience, like Arcane was. But I feel the writers had too much freedom because they had fundamentally change how Hextech works and how it interacts with the world. It should be said that Arcane, in a vacuum, is a fantastic story that shows the dangers of humans tampering with things they don't understand. Hextech, as a fuel source, is a great allegory for things like oil. Hextech is tampering with the natural order of the arcane, so it leads to disruptions in nature. And if this allegory is true to life and art is imitating the real world, then maybe Hextech will continue to be used and become even more widespread. We all know that just because the end of the world is coming doesn't mean that the powerful forces that exist are going to stop using non-renewable toxic energy sources.
You know, capitalism!
The canonization of Arcane in the League of Legends universe has completely fucked the world building. Victor and Jace are confirmed to be dead by the creators of Arcane. I cannot put into words how stupid this is.
See, it's only stupid if they actually follow through with it all the way, but they're not going to. If you want to kill them, okay, but also then disable them in the game. The same way they did to fucking Gangplank some years back when he was given his GUI rebrand. He wants to come out of the fucking cut, deep underneath from, under getting fucked by a Lowy, with whole new beard, new face, new attitude, new hat, and her saying, yes, yes, my coochie did you good, then literally you have to be willing to fucking sell that. If you don't sell that, then why the fuck are we putting it there? It's boring.
Makes me indescribably angry that the writers decided to kill off these characters after completely changing Victor's story. This portion of the video isn't going to have much reasoning based in logic. I'm just mad. Arcane loves bad endings, which is fine. In war, people die. I am not mad at an ending that makes me sad. I'm mad because the ending sucks. Victor had more to do, and of course, all the holes left in the story by Victor's changes can be filled by retconning, but these issues were not issues before Arcane became the canon.
It would not need to be retconned, it just needs to be given a better ending. So, if you want to change the ending in the further story, whatever the fuck they make about Noxus, it requires them to just fix it. That's it. That's all they gotta do, is fix it. If they fix it, then there is no problem. If they don't fix it, then there is a problem. How would they fix it? They'd fix it by just writing a better fucking story. And then at the end, put a fucking teaser trailer, since you niggas are addicted to this goddamn universe, that it's the equivalent of the MCU. Then it's not a big deal. Otherwise, we're not talking cash money.
I feel it's worth noting that despite all these flaws that I have with Arcane, I still love it. I love the characters, even Victor in his current state. I have a lot of admiration for the writers and especially the animators of Arcane. All these problems that I have with the show, I really hope they can fix. I really liked Victor's portrayal in Season 1 and back when it first came out. I was really excited to see how Victor would become the Machine Herald that I already knew him as. And imagine my disappointment when he just didn't. Like at all. I was also excited to see Blitzcrank, even if it was a minor cameo from him, but we didn't get that. We got a small cameo from Oriana, but not in her robot state, and we don't know if she's ever going to be changed because Arcane and the story of Piltover and Zahn is over, at least in this medium. Maybe it's my fault for going in with these expectations, but I just find it so hard to believe that the scientist that Victor was just did a 180 after waking up from his coma and is now just a magic man.
Magic man! Oh, whoa! He's magic! I didn't expect this.
I still love Arcane, but I'm left wondering so many questions that I don't know if they'll ever get an answer because for a lot of these beloved characters, we did not get closure. I guess my concluding statement is that I really love Arcane, and I really hope the writers know what they're doing.
Eh. 234 subscriber channel. I'm seeing more videos from smaller number channels than I am from larger number channels. The algorithm is truly butt fucked. And a Minish Cap video. It is horde. Oh, Kingdom Casino's already on top of the fourth and fifth allegation. Ken Poole is leaving West Virginia, and more shit about Fuentes. I'll file that into the folder for later.
Whoa!
There's not really much that can be said about League. As a game, I'm cucked for playing it. Anyone can be cucked for playing it, first off. But more importantly, cucked for playing it, shit company, shit game. The game engines and its upgrades and certain character designs are good, but the player base ruins it. Many of them have bad opinions. Designers on staff have bad opinions, bad behavior, bad ideas, and will not be punished for them because there's a riot next to the name. They believe that it's acceptable for them to act the way they do, and they will not change their behavior. It's all fucked. Ouch. How much to be said? Alright, it is 6:26. I'm going offline because I have more editing I need to do, as well as I would like to go enjoy doing something. I will see you all probably tomorrow at 10. Yeah, tomorrow at 10. See what I'll do with myself then. Goodbye, everyone. I'll see you in the funny papers, and I'm billing you for my therapy.